It's probably before one.
Okay, before, just straight through that.
No, I don't like to hear my voice that long.
He's lying, he does.
Should be able to. Everybody's online, huh?
Yeah, you know how that goes.
We're gonna get to meet anybody.
You know, I think we've been doing a fairly good job of getting agents in the office. So we appreciate you being here, by the way. And we do our best to get everybody here. But understand that it's also changed,
It's permanently changed.
right?
It's really hard for agents. We don't get to see people, meet people, make relationships, you know.
Right, yeah, you're right. You are right.
Since I got the whole place to myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Jordan right now. Yeah. Okay, good.
Oh, finally, somebody I know. Oh, yeah, 10. Nice to see you. Yeah, how are you doing? Hello. Yeah, I did tell her. Good morning. How are you? Good to see you. The one with the big house and the ADU in the back. In San Jose. Yeah. Yeah, it's been on the market for, I think, 2 months. Yeah, so they've had a lot of interest, but nobody ready to make the offer yet, so a lot of houses are. I saw, so Suja just had her first close. That's so exciting. I'm happy for her. And Kelly and Alex had their first offer.
Yeah, I was in the office today, but I don't come. Yeah, but I'm Zoom.
Oh, I'm Zoom.
Yeah.
So nice. So happy. I know Alex and Kelly, you know, 3 years, you know, they've been working.
Tell me the last.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Oh, great. Alex, it's his first.
Yeah.
Oh, 2. Okay. Yeah. So exciting for all of them. Really makes me so happy.
Yeah.
The people working so hard and finally something comes through. You know, those of us, because you've been doing this about a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, I mean, I'm behind you, but you know, when those of us that came in during the pandemic, it's been a very difficult time for us. So we all feel it. But this is important. I think we need this training.
I've been my people.
Mhm. I'd love to
Okay.
go.
See you then.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
You're on camera. It's following you.
I'm the only student. Ah. Not the only student present in the class.
Don't tell anybody. It's a secret. Oh, there's somebody here. No, it's just us.
so soon. And
Well, they're
literally,
smart.
we
Get in before it comes
That's
up.
true.
They
That's
lost their
true.
rate and they're gonna not be dealing with this for the rest of the year. That's
They are the common law.
Hey, hi, Jeff, how are you? We've got the whole Gateway team here.
Nice. Yes, yes. Yeah. And Suja. Suja. Yeah. Nice to meet you. Yeah. So, first few offers was June, and I couldn't go and see down.
Mhm.
For me to take the contingency for inspection was like.
So we're gonna get ready to get started.
All right, give me. There's some more.
I have to see if this thing is recording. The times. It says I'm talking. Look at that, isn't that amazing? So we're just going to check. Hey, John and Christina, can you hear us?
Yep, can hear you fine.
I can see your mic moving, John. I cannot hear you. So let me see. Let me try that again. Try again.
Check. Test 1, 2, 3.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
And I do not know what this camera is doing. Let me see what the camera is doing, because I have no idea. Hello, Mr. Camera. What are you doing? Whatever. We're just waiting for
Suja.
2 people to come back. Give me 30 seconds and we'll get started. I think. Ooh, there's John. Let me just see what the camera is doing. There we go. I'm just going to leave this. I know you can see that. I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth from it. I just want to make sure if you guys have questions, I can hear you. I'm going to turn up your guys' volume. So you're from Gateway.
All 3 of us.
No kidding. Let's ask. Where's John, where are you from? What office?
I'm in the Campbell office.
Where you are?
Yep.
I never come in, so. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there for a little over a year.
Damn it. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's what happens, you know. You go to work from home and you never come back in.
Yeah.
You may make a copy and leave, like, oh, who are
Too
you?
comfortable.
It's fun when you come into the office and people are like, oh, hi, I'm Susan. Great, and who are you? Oh, I'm Tim. Oh, are you new in the office? No, I've been here for 10 years. Oh, I've never seen you. Yeah, I work from home. I don't pay dues. I work from home. Where'd she go?
Yeah, she get something to eat.
Eat? Okay, well, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start because there are people waiting and John is over there saying we need to get started. So we're getting started. All right, so I'm Tim Alston. I am obviously in the Campbell office. I've been a real estate agent for 21 years. I started in Coldwell Banker in Los Gatos back in the day. My manager was Chris Trapani, who's now the owner of Cerrito Group. And Ryan Iwanaga, Chris went on to became the president of Coldwell Banker. Ryan Iwanaga, who was his number 2 over there, which they became Chris something or other, was my manager. I left there in 2008, I believe. 2008, I left there. I went to the Cupertino office, and then I don't remember when I came over here. I think 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I came to this office. Not a big person moving around. I just don't. I don't feel the need. I don't follow the dollar. Where can I make a better dollar? It's just if I don't like staff, manager, then I am a car RPA trainer, certified trainer. I'm also a wind farms trainer. So this is the car. I don't know what the camera's doing. It's staring at the wall. So sorry. I don't know what it's doing. I honestly have no idea. This class is the certified trainer class presented by the car attorney. It is 172 slides. I am going to be breezing through a lot of them because we don't need them, because it goes into the weeds. It will go into fire broker agreement. It'll go into wildfire disclosure. It'll just keep following that further and further down. I'm going to stick at the top on the RPA. There's been a lot of updates to it. For those that didn't know the contract before, it used to only be 4 pages. When I started, and there was no online. When forms didn't exist, it was all green screen. So we had to type in code to be able to get information out. And it was all hard paper, carbon copies. We get a little booklet and fill out the carbon copy and give it. We keep the yellow, give the white to the client. Good old days. So you do have a copy, or is a copy of the contract. Okay, John, if you don't have a copy of the RPA, I would, and whoever else is online, I would go online and go to WinForms and pull it up. It's much easier to go through when we're talking about the different areas of the contract and what they're saying. Makes life easier. So let's see how we can make this work. All right. So the new RPA obviously is 16 pages. It got really, really long. But what they did is they put all of the pertinent information in the first 3 pages. Those are what we call the grid. Unlike before, in the last contract, you go to like page, I think it was like 8 or 9 or 10, and that's where your property contingency hit. They put it at the front, which makes it a lot easier for you. You're able to see exactly what you need to do, as well as you're able to tell your clients, hey, we're just going through the first 3 pages. I know it's 16, but everything behind it is boilerplate, which means it's just there. It's non-changeable. We're just giving you that information. Okay. So this is just an example of all 3 pages, and we're going to go through them. One of the coolest things they've added in there is the text overflow addendum. So before, we would have clients that had the really long names. We would have information we're trying to type in there as to the street address or an APN number. So now, if it goes off the block, automatically, it's not showing on the screen here. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on, everybody. It's not screen sharing. Stand by. Stand by. I don't know why it's not screen sharing. It says I am screen sharing, but I do not see a screen.
You might stop and do it sometimes
I
if it's been
see
paused.
a screen share. Stand by. I apologize. I look up at the top and it says no screen share. So we're going to stop screen share and go back to screen share. Okay, and then we're going to go here. Oh, I know what's going on. And then we're going to go here. And by connect duplicate.
Hey, Tim, I can see your screen, text overflow addendum number 1.
You can? Because in here we can't see it.
Yeah, I can see the text
Okay.
overflow addendums up, and that's all I see. I don't see you or anything else. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know what this freaking thing is doing. This is the office setup. I was going to use my computer, but they're like, well, you know, we use ours. And it's much better.
You want me to go get font?
Let's see, change production mode, duplicate. I'm just trying to see what it's doing. Okay, let's do it. Let's go disconnect from the conference room screen. Reconnect to the conference room screen. Sorry, everybody. Oh, maybe. Bingo.
Wow.
Got it. Okay. Back to the text overflow addendum. Thanks, John. What it does, you can see, what it's doing is that it will then reference the specific paragraph as to where it came from. Now, I just went through some disclosures on a property in the mountains. This is great as long as you have the information in front of you so you can refer, keep going back and forth to that paragraph to see what is it saying. Because the text overflow addendum, the TOA, will apply to any document within WinForms. So if your client is filling out the TDS or the supplemental or something else, and they're saying, especially on the TDS, they say, hey, explain what's the reason why you check the yes box, and you start typing it in there, and then all of a sudden it goes off, it flows to this. Well, when you're looking at disclosures, how are we looking at them? Online, we don't print them out. So now I'm looking at the TDS and it says TOA paragraph 7D8, and I go down to it and it says increased deposit made upon removal or whatever it says. And I'm like, well, what was this talking about? Was it talking about sprinklers? Was it talking about the foundation? And you got to keep bouncing back and forth. to see, okay, what was the next one? What was the next one? What was the next one? So one of the disadvantages of online having it, but it does help because now this automatically applies. Now, can you go and get the text overflow addendum, the TOA independent and say, I just want to put TOA so I can use it? No, it is not a form. You can never get to it. It doesn't exist. It automatically attaches it to any document. So it's not something you can say, I'm going to print out my purchase agreement. I'm going to take it to my clients. I'm going to bring the TOA in case they get something that's wrong. It's not there. It's only online.
So when does this pop up?
It pops up automatically when you are filling in any document and it goes off the line. So once it hits the end of the line, the TOA pipes in and it'll start adding the document and start filling it. It'll go on forever. It'll go to page 1, page 2, page 3. If you need to, it'll do that.
But so how do you deal with that I mean, there are some clients, they only want paper, they don't want to sign it by DocuSign.
Mhm.
How can they see the addendum?
They're not. Use a piece of paper or you can actually use an addendum.
Or take a screenshot or something like that?
No. No, so the TOA, as an example, I've got my purchase agreement. And let's just say agent name under seller's agent, the broker name is super long. That's whatever it is. And it goes off the line. When it goes off the line, the TOA will chime in. On that line, it will say TOA paragraph blank, see TOA, to say, okay, reference this additional document. Now, if you're with your client and you're hard papering this, what are we going to do? We're going to write all the way up into here and keep writing. That's what we're going to do. Because we're not going to go, oh, wait, hold on, let me add another piece of paper. But if it's just too long, say you're sitting with your client, you're doing the TDS, that's really where you'll see it. And all of a sudden, they're putting an explanation that's going off. Well, the easiest answer is see the attached piece of paper. See paragraph 1 circle, paragraph piece of paper, write it out for me.
So what actually then becomes the incorporated contract? If the TOA is only in electronic form, what gets, codified is what I'm saying.
So here's the best part. Are you allowed to print out win forms, documents, blank, like this, and take them to get signed? No, it is illegal. This is a copyrighted document. It is not allowed to be printed out blank. That's why if you ever try and do it, it always asks for an address.
Yeah.
They won't let you do it.
Otherwise, it says something like a water.
It's simple.
I use the lone wolf. I don't
Same
know.
thing. WinForms, Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf bought WinForms from PAR, but it is still WinForms go to WinForms. But WinForms is a company that, or Lone Wolf is a company that bought it, but it's still PAR WinForms. So you were technically not allowed. It's a violation of the agreement you have with PAR. I'm a trainer. As a trainer, I have access to every document.
I use good form, it doesn't let me print out. I have
No.
to say 1, 2, 3, 1, 3.
Yep, you do.
So back to my question, if you do have, and we have some people that just don't want to deal with the online thing, and you need to print out their RPA for them.
Super easy. You just need the address of the property you're making the offer for and their name. You have the 2 things you can print it. And leave everything else blank.
But will the TOA,
TOA is online only. So if you print this out, there's no way for you to add additional information. So if you need to do that, all you're gonna do is just pull out this paper. Just line piece of paper and say number 1.
but you've already gone through all the effort to do it online. I'm sorry, I'm belaboring this point. I know you have limited time. I'm just trying to be very clear about this. So if you've gone through all this and you have, like the TDS you're saying that goes on forever and ever sometimes, you basically have to replicate that in typing it up or handwriting it if the person is doing it by hand.
So the question that you're asking is, well, there's 2 parts to your question. One is how do I use the TOA if I'm using hard paper? You cannot. And part 2 is if someone was to handwrite out a response or disclosure information, do I need to duplicate that back into the system to add a TOA? So there's two answers to that one. One, no, you don't have to read, you can use their handwriting. Two, I don't recommend that because you can't read their handwriting.
Here's a further problem. What if you have filled out the RPA online, okay? And they say, I don't want to do electronic signature, I'm doing it in my handwriting.
That's fine.
Okay, you go to print it out, and this will not print out, right?
And we'll print it out because you did it online. So that's the difference. You said you did it online. So if you're doing it online,
Yes.
and there is an overflow of text, this will print.
Oh, that's what I'm
Yes.
trying to understand.
Okay, but if you were to just take this contract
Yes.
to your
And you can't
client,
print out. blank.
you can't print out a
Oh,
TOA.
okay.
Then
So
you
I
can use piece of paper. Yeah, but I would highly recommend that if a client handwrites anything, you type it. What I do, just so you know, when I'm doing a contract with a client, is I will, always ask you just send me an email with your name. I don't care if your name is John Smith, is it Jon, is it John, is it Johnn? I don't know. Spell it for me, please. And I ask for that. And what I'll do is I'll put the address and I'll put the name on here and I will leave this blank. And if it's a husband and wife, guess what? I have 3 of them. The husband, one for the wife, one for me. But look, this is going to be our scribble one. We're going to fill out our offer. We're going to write all over this. Because when we're done, I'm going to retype it. And I'm going to, here's right there. We're going to retype it. And then we're going to go back and make sure on each page that we made changes, that they're the same on the screen. That's the one we're going to sign. This is the one we're going to go through and talk about and scribble and like we circle here, highlight to understand. Okay. So that's my recommendation. What I do, yeah, it's a lot of paper. I don't care. Especially with disclosures. When you're writing an offer disclosures, I have 3 sets. I have 2 sets that are stapled double-sided and 1 set that's not stapled single-sided, because that's the one they're signing, my version. Let's go over X, Y, Z, and then they take their copy. There's your copy of all the disclosures again. And then the signed copies, when I photocopy them, because I give them a copy of it before they leave, you can put a watermark on it. It just says copy. Because I copy it in color so they can see the signature looks real, but that's the way I do it. All right, one other thing that they have added on there is the APN number, especially for the people in Santa Cruz. APN numbers in Santa Cruz are really long. So what they did is they have added a longer line for your APN on the contract.
Does that apply to Santa Cruz or Santa Cruz County?
Everything. They just made the line longer.
Okay.
Yeah. So your APNs are super long. What is it? It's like something -0000 or something. Good God, what is this thing? So they just made it longer because before it was a really small box and it didn't fit, and then it doesn't make it a valid contract because the APN cuts off. You're like, okay, was it the right property?
Oh, okay.
You will get those people.
Got it.
Yep. All right, so we're going to start. So the way that the attorney does it makes it really easy. We're going to go through the grid, and we're going to start right at the very, very top. So obviously, right at the top, we have our purchase price or all cash. If you check the box, all cash, what the system does now, it blanks out all the finance information. It just disappears. It's no longer able, you're not able to touch it or fill it, it's done. So it made it a little bit easier so you can't make a mistake. Close of escrow. It's blank days after acceptance or a physical date. I'm not an attorney or a CPA, so I can't give you legal or tax advice. But you will hear from every KW attorney or ENO attorney, they want you to actually put a physical date rather than dates after acceptance. It's your choice how you want to do that. I do dates after acceptance. I do 29. Sometimes I'm feeling like really aggressive with the lender. I do 28, but that's about as far as I go on that one. Expiration of offer. All offers, this offer, previous RPAs, all expire within 3 calendar days. Now understand there's a difference between calendar and business days. This one is calendar days. So if you make the offer on Friday, it expires on Monday, okay? And they put a specific physical date, our time in here now. So it expires Monday at 5 p.m. unless you want to change the time. So they made that a little bit easier. Even if you submit your offer on, Friday at midnight, it still expires Monday at 5. It's not a full 72 hours. It is Monday at 5. Now here's the fun one. This is not my graphs. I didn't do this. That's from the attorney. The agency disclosure. The fun one. Is the buyer's agent required to give your agency disclosure to the listing agent? Are you legally required to give that to them? No. Your AD, agency disclosure. You're not. You don't have to give it to them. You don't have to give it to them. Now, do we? Yes. You have some that'll ask for it. Hey, I don't see your agency, but it's not legally required. The big thing about purchase contract is know the legal requirements of it will set you apart when it comes down to a position where you need to basically flex your position as to what can and cannot be done. So understand, it is in the form now, right there under 2A. It says specifically, if represented by a real estate licensee, buyer's agent is not legally required to give the seller's agent AD form signed by the buyer. And the seller's agent is not legally obliged to give the buyer's agent AD form signed by the seller. If you notice now, I don't even know when it happened, I think like 3 years ago, the listing agent doesn't give their agency anymore in the disclosure packages. You don't see it, it disappeared. I'm like, oh, it's not there anymore. This is why. We give it because when you fill out your purchase contract, there's a bunch of stuff that's built into it. Agency, dual agency, the CCCA, what is it,
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the contract. They're going to see it anyway.
it's built in. I break it apart
So why was this?
just because it clarified, because a lot of people were fighting over the fact, believe, how many agents out there think they're attorneys? All of them. They all think they're attorneys. Oh, you can't do that. Yeah, I can. Oh, no, you can't. Why? Can an agent disclose what your offer is to another agent?
They can if they have permission.
They don't need permission.
Listing agents can.
Absolutely.
But they don't.
But they don't because they think that they ethically or legally cannot. Yes, they can. Here's the offer, right? Here's everything it says. Read it. But there is now a non-disclosure agreement that you can attach to your offer. That says, I do not give you permission to disclose.
Right.
They can. But a lot of them don't. They get, some get very prickly about it. We're not going to go over all those. So I am skipping some of these because this is a 172 slide deck. We were not able to delete some of the forms in here because it's not a registered version for this office. So I can't go in and delete out the forms. So those are, let me just see online. Those that are online, which I don't even know who's there. My screen's gone at the top again. I don't know what this computer's doing. Computers, I should use my own. Okay. Oops, where do you? All right. All cash offer. When you check that box, all cash is not contingent on the buyer obtaining a loan. Buyer shall, within the time specified in 3H, deliver written verification of funds sufficient to purchase price and closing costs. I'm going to give you a little secret about this one and how you can set yourself apart. So if I am making an offer and I'm using a loan, okay, and I have typically I would have a loan contingent, especially right now in this market. You better have a loan contingency. Non-contingent with the way the market's moving would be a bad idea. But what's the advantage of having an all cash offer? What's the big thing people are, oh, it's all cash? What?
Price. Look at it. They have more leverage to get the price down. Oh, short close of escrow.
Short close of escrow. And what's another one?
They're getting to they're getting the money.
They're getting the money sooner, right? How about no loan or appraisal contingency?
Yeah.
Right? That's the big one. Now, can you make an all cash offer and have a loan?
Yes. If the contract is not contingent upon it. Or I guess you could.
The contract automatically allows any buyer who makes an all cash offer to get a loan. Built in automatically. But caveat, comma. The only way you can do that is if your client has the money to make an all cash offer, right? Have them do it. My recommendation. But 30-day close. Don't do a little 7-day close. Listing agent be like, hey, you're all cash. Why are you doing a 30-day close? Because the money's in China. Very hard to get money out of China. No, it takes a long time to get it out of it. It's going to take the time to get it out. They got to liquidate their asset. The market's moving, blah, 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 blah. Because the way the contract is written is hard in the contract. It cannot be removed that the buyer has the right to go get a loan
But you,
as long as they close on time. They cannot get an extension. And the seller has no right to know or counter it.
they require the POS from the contract.
Right. Okay, proof funds.
So here's another question. Does the proof of funds that they provide have to be where they actually draw the funds from?
They just have to show they have them.
Because
Let's
that's
say I
what
won the
it
$1 billion
says.
lotto and I've got 18 accounts. A bunch of accounts got hundreds of millions of dollars in it, but this one over here is the one I use for day-to-day use, and it's got $4 million in it. And I show you a $100 million account. But then I'm going to pull from the $4 million account, that's the one I really use. Anyway, people have the amount in it. Doesn't matter where it comes from.
So in your instance, if the person did that, put in an all cash offer with the intent to actually get a loan, 30-day close escrow.
Mhm.
They get to the end of the 30 days and the loan isn't closed.
Mhm.
There,
Is that what I said?
no, I'm proposing that.
Then you're in breach of contract. And the
But-
seller has recourse.
At that point, they would have to close and they would have to use their cash.
No.
No,
That's for the extension.
but you just said they don't have an extension if they have an all cash.
The seller, so, okay. Remember, what are 3 things can happen in a transaction?
It can close, it can get canceled, and it can expire.
You
No.
can, the seller can ask, the buyer can ask, or they can counter. That's it. And what's the other thing? We are not party to the transaction. It's between the buyer and the seller. So regardless of what we want to do, if the buyer says, hey, we've got a problem with our loan, hopefully you've advised the listing agent long before the fact that it's closing on the 30th, because 3-4 days before, title would have already known, like, hey, I don't loan docs. So about 4 days before, you're already going to get the red flag listing agent, like, I don't have loan docs. We're not going to be able to close on it. So you should advise the listing agent, this is what's going on. Now they're going to be pissed. They're going to be pissed. Okay. Sorry. Find out what's going on with the loan, get the loan closed. When it comes to closing and it doesn't close, what can the listing agent do? Send over a demand to close escrow.
They have 2 days.
Everything is 2 calendar days. Sucks on a 3-day weekend. Had that happen. But it is what it is. Does the seller want to come back on the market? No. Does the seller have recourse? Typically, then you're coming out of pocket. You're paying the seller $100 a day, $200 a day for delay. And that's just what happens. It's just reality. I had to pay for my client for a lender that didn't close. I had to pay for 14 days at $200 a day in delay. And instead of making my client pay it, which would have not gone well, it was the lender's fault, I paid it. And the listing was still pissed.
Could they cancel the contract? Do they have the right at that point?
So can a seller cancel contract on a buyer that's removed all contingencies? I am not an attorney. The answer is no. It cannot. If you make a non-contingent offer, the seller's stuck with you until you close or a buyer cancels. I'm not an attorney. I'm not doing liquid.
Buyer can cancel.
Well, you have to have both parties have to mutually agree to cancel. You can't just cancel on one side. All right, loan amounts. If FHA or VA is checked, forms automatically attach. So we don't see FHA out here. It doesn't go high enough. VA doesn't go high enough. I have a VA loan. And And I purchased it with an agent who's very experienced from my old office, and he didn't even understand it. So what is a VA loan? It just allows the buyer to be able to purchase 100% finance. Is it a bad loan? No. It's the same loan. It's the same money. It just changes how much us as buyers are putting down. Who cares? Who cares if I'm putting down 5%, 3.5%, 10%, 20%, or 100%? Who cares? It's the same banknote. It's just backed by the Department of Veterans Affairs. Who cares? But if a listing agent ever tells you, and you will hear it, and I heard it, it says, oh, sorry, the seller doesn't take VA loans. Really? Are you the seller? Because why don't you let the seller make the decision? We're doing a VA loan, we're going to make the offer. This is exactly what happened. Got that from the listing agent. We're not going to take a VA loan. Well, that's great, but we're using a VA loan for its standing. What the listing agent did not know is the seller was a vet. Purchased the home with a VA loan. Multiple offer. We were not the highest. The seller point blank told the listing agent, I am taking the VA loan, which is lower. I'm going to do anything I need to do to get them into this house. And the listing was like, oh, yeah, you're an idiot.
So why did they say that?
Because listing agents are idiots. They think, what are they all? What are we all? We're attorneys. We think we know everything. We don't. Don't make a decision for the seller. I'll give you a side note. Listed a property previous from a client of mine who went with the wife's friend who's out of the area. Home never sold with the other agent. I was wanting to mention the other agent's name. The other agent got an offer on the property that wasn't as high as she thought it should have been. She rejected the offer. The home never sold. I brought it on for $300,000 less and sold it. He lost $450,000 because the agent rejected an offer. And then tried to go back to the buyer and the buyer said, nope, it was gone. Gone. He was not happy. I referred him to an attorney. Doesn't involve me. Okay, we're not doing that one. Not doing request for repairs. Not doing that one. Okay, so one of the things we used to see, oh my God, the screen's not moving again. Hold on online. The screen, you guys got to tell me because I'm not looking back. Hold on online. The screen here is not moving. I'm going to go get smart people. Stand by. Stand by one. Smart people are smarter than me. I don't know what
Yeah, it does add but he confused me with his comment. It does add the extra page. My concern was if you printed, if you did it online and you. Yes. Yes. I thought what he was saying was though, if you
So
this out,
it's not there.
printed it, that page would have come, and then you'll have none. So my understanding is wrong. And so that problem is if your client then is signing on a piece of paper and they write something different than what's online, and the seller or the other party is agreeing to what's online, you have conflict because you have different things in the different parts of the line. So it does if you actually have done it online. Yeah, but you cannot just print out page copies. Oh, okay, separate from the, because it's basically an output
Let me try disconnecting
of
and reconnecting.
the line that you're actually looking at. This is happening. So then it was something that was going over and came as over. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what it can come, right? Okay. Yeah, the one I sold, we had that as well, but the concern I had was if you prepared everything online and then you printed it out, I thought what we initially said is that TOD will not print out. And if they wrote something by hand and they signed the hand copy and it is not exactly the same, and then the other party signed the online one, we have a problem because your contract is not that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay, is
but
that
once
correct
it
now?
goes on,
Yeah.
then
Okay,
again,
perfect.
yeah.
But this thing isn't doing something. What is this supposed to do?
That's a camera, so if you have your camera on in the Zoom, it will like show the
Yes.
stuff as well.
How do you do that? It should be.
Yeah, we should never have anything.
That's how it used to be.
Even as you said their name, because the name is the most critical thing, you know, of the contract, so.
Try clicking
anything
either up at the top
we
or
should
on the
always
side.
have.
So one of the cameras is on.
So there it is. There's one.
Oh, I think this might be it.
Yeah.
He didn't have.
Right.
Stop it, you aren't facing.
No, none of it fits me.
You aren't facing.
No, no, I do not.
Oh,
No.
so we're good now?
Okay.
Perfect.
So everybody online, we're still good. You guys can see the screens? Thumbs up.
Yep, all good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, let me close whatever this is. Okay, right screen, okay. Okay, back to this. All right, so one of the things we used to see on the counter offers is that we make our offer for $1 million. We're paying down 3%, $30,000, and all of a sudden the seller counters us back at 1.1. Right? When that counter comes back, what happens is we still have $30,000 as our deposit. So the contract says, unless otherwise agreed in writing, down payment and loan amounts shall be adjusted in the same proportions. So that 30,000 is now increased by another 3,000, so it's 33,000 by default. Okay, because what would happen is that we would get that, well, bigger counter. Let's say, well, you know, we're going to offer $1 million, we get counter 1.5, right? That's $15,000 difference in our initial deposit. We get that sign, all of a sudden the agent goes, oh crap, wait a minute. You don't have full 3% anymore. Well, you know, you agreed 3%. Well, that's the sign, we're done. No. So in the contract, it has been adjusted that the terms now state that the deposit will increase the same percentage that you initially put down. So if you went from 1 million to 2 million, your deposit is now 60,000. So know that as the buyer side, the buyer will go, well, I didn't know I had to come up with more money. Well, you made a higher offer, you accepted it, your deposit has increased.
But you have the option, you can put the amount exactly, or you can. put-
No, no. If you are countered on the counter, it specifically states, unless otherwise agreed in writing, if on that counter it says deposit will remain 30,000 or 3% of the original offer, yes. But if it does not, if it just says purchase price to be 1.5, all our terms and conditions remain the same, guess what? Your deposit increased 15,000. It's not going to be on there, it's going to be on the counter.
Oh, on the counter.
Counter.
I have a question.
Yes.
If the buyer's counter offers, they obligated to buy once they accepted.
Okay, okay. So the question is that once a buyer signs a counter offer, are they obligated to finish the purchase? So here's the one answer. What's the one thing we're looking for? Do they have a, start with the C, contingency?
Oh.
And what's the catch-all contingency? Property. Property can be anything. The smell, the light, the color of the front door, the neighborhood, the noise, the trees, the schools, the street, it can be anything to the property. If you have a property contingency, you have an out. But if the counter comes back and it says, you know, non-contingent offer, blah, 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 the buyer signs the offer.
Oh. I'm so sorry to press this, but sometimes I just need to be very clear. So I thought the reason that they give you this option to indicate whether you want an exact amount or you want the percentage
Mhm.
is that when the counter comes in, unless they change, if you put in an exact amount, we're gonna put 10K down regardless of what the price is,
Mhm.
right? If the counter comes back and you have indicated that your initial deposit will be 10K,
Mhm.
then they can counter that initial deposit. But if you're saying that your offer is 10K only and it's not a percentage of the offer, that you have a right to keep that as it is.
So what is the purpose of a counter?
It's to change any terms or price.
And what is boilerplate?
What is what 3%?
No, boilerplate is just, it's built in.
Statutory.
Built in.
That's what's standard.
So right here. Built in,
So you're saying every single counter,
yes.
regardless of what you have indicated. on
You can't say,
your offer,
now see, that's too broad, every counter. So are you saying, buyer makes an offer for $1 million, seller counter for 1.5, you made only deposit of $10,000 of 10% or 2%? No, 1%. 1% of the purchase price was your deposit. And this comes back. Well, what was your deposit at?
10,000.
At 1%.
1%.
Offer went to 1.5.
So,
You just increased to 15,000.
so that's my question. Is it automatic
Yes,
when you get a counter?
yes,
That
yes,
deposit is gonna come?
yes. Unless you counter it out.
Right.
Because what the form does, if you look at the form, it gives you that little block of whatever the percentage was, it built it in now. It's gonna follow that. It's not gonna go to 3. It's gonna follow whatever that is. So if you put down 10,000, you're putting down 1% at $1 million, went to 1.5, guess what? It went to 15. It's gonna keep going 1% of the purchase price. It is gonna be there unless you, if they just say purchase price be 1.5, and you don't talk to the agent like, hey, just wanna clarify, I know, and this is where you can really stand out as an agent to set yourself apart. Because it's great when you tell the agent, like, hey, I just want to touch base really quick on this one part of the contract. Just make sure you're aware. And we go, damn, I didn't even see that. We do it all the time. I had a TC do that to me. I was pissed. Oh, so it's, damn, she's right. But we learn. You tell this agent, hey, you say, you'll know, unless you're multiple, it sucks. I hate multiple counters when they want to work with you, like, well, we're still going to set over multiple. Then why? Because that just means that my buyer signs, we're still not in contract. You still have the option to choose that you want to do. No, I don't know what that means. That's stupid. Go 1-to-1. This is a make sure that I can close with you. No offense, I don't want to work with you. I don't want a multiple, right? So in that, hey, we talked to seller and blah, blah, blah. We're going to counter you a 1.5. What does your buyer think? You shouldn't be doing this verbally. You just cut paper and send it over. You catch people off guard. Just really, hey, we're gonna count you 1.5. Listen to what the buyer thinks. Oh, great, talk to the buyer. You're good. Hey, you know what? We're gonna take 1.5. But one thing, real quick, before you send it over, just want to make sure you're aware in the contract on the counter it states that my deposit is going to increase from the 10,000. We only have the 10,000, so we can just make a line in there that just says deposit remaining 10,000.
We have to send a counter.
No, we're not sending counter. We're telling the listing agent that they're countering us on our offer.
Okay, so when they send a counter.
When they send it over, because if not, guess what? We gotta send it back again.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. We don't want to give them time to think and let another offer come in. Because when you're countering back and forth,
Yeah.
can another offer come in?
Yeah.
Yes, because I did it and I stole it from another agent. They were so pissed. Sorry. You knew that you're not in contract. And it was out for signature for the seller because they were waiting to sign it. The seller was working and I knew that. And so I just zinged in an offer that they couldn't refuse and expired in 1 hour and took it. And they were so mad because they told them verbally that their offer was accepted. Sucks to be you, but
In spite of this.
God, it's not moving again. What is going on with the screen? Sorry, online, this thing's pissing me off. Go ahead. I'm going to try and figure this out.
In spite of this, the counter offer, as you said, it's there. And then the lender, just before 1 week before closing, you said, we want your buyers to sign an extra addendum saying the initial deposit is increased. They did.
The lender did.
Lender did not. They want to do an extra addendum. Right now.
Right. Because they were getting ready to fund probably, so
Yeah.
when they get ready to actually transfer. them.
They paid the down payment depending on this number, the increased.
So you had a counter, and
I
when the
did,
counter
yeah.
came back, we didn't increase the deposit.
No, we did pay the increased deposit because as you said, it's there. Unless otherwise I'm reading how it can count it. But the lender said, no, there has to be another addendum signed saying, the actual amount they paid in the initial deposit. Because the RPA had a number.
Yeah, the lender will catch you. If you
Yeah.
don't catch it, they'll say, hey, your numbers are off. Because they'll look at it really quick. What the frick is this thing doing?
Our initial RPA was for the.
There we go.
And the deposit was calculated for. 10,000. And then we quoted it for 1,025,000. So the deposit increased a little bit. We assume, if it's there in the form.
Hold on, fellas. We're just trying to fix this again.
But the lender said the RPA has a number that doesn't match the actual deposit, so sign another addendum saying we actually paid a little bit more.
But the counter should have had.
Yeah, but it has only the purchase price, right, not the deposit.
The counter didn't have the
Yeah.
deposit.
It has a new purchase price.
Okay.
But in our RPA, it's the initial deposit calculated for me.
Oh, I see. So because it says that
Yeah.
it's required with that, the original, I see. what you're
It's
saying.
not required, we just did, calculated for 1,025.
Yeah, but the contract actually says unless otherwise writing the down payment and the loan amount will be.
Hey, online, we're gonna
So.
take a, whoops, we're gonna take a 10-minute technology break to figure out what the heck this thing is doing,
You.
because it is not cooperating and I need to get it fixed because here in the training room, I don't know if you can see on the screen, there's nothing there. So I don't know what it's doing, but give us 10 minutes. We're gonna take a quick little break. We'll come back at 10, where we at? 10:55 while we get this figured out. Okay.
All right, thanks, Tim.
I'm just turning on the audio for the online people because we're having questions and I want you to hear them. Repeat your question.
So, if there's any counter offer from the buyer, but he's not aware of the additional, fees, and the seller does accept the counter offer, does the agent have to cover those fees? If he did not notify the buyer about the additional fees?
I'm not an attorney. Does the buyer know? Or the agent? Does the agent know?
The agent.
But here's the thing. You made an offer in good faith, you are in contract, we're still using the $10,000 as the initial deposit.
Right.
And the price went from a million at 1% at 10,000 to 1.5, 10,000, we need to increase by an additional, was it $5,000? Buyer doesn't have it. But nobody caught it on the counters and it's now part of the contract. And we get down to the point where the lender's like, hey, you need to bring in the additional $5,000. How can you rectify that?
Ask for change of terms.
It's called a addendum. Look at an addendum. Hey, just want to clarify the fact that, the deposit changed from 2,000, buyer only has 10. I don't want to have to do another counter. We're just going to write an addendum that says, hey, deposits can remain $10,000. Good with that? Cool, great. We'll send it over. Your signature done. There you go, lender, have a nice day. Done. You can do anything with an addendum. I've changed the contract. The deposit, you're getting ready to close, lender's calling out another $5,000, super simple, like, hey, we're just gonna send an addendum, we're ready to close, we're going to withdraw docs, everything's ready to go, they're clear, they're good, we're just gonna change the deposit. Right? Super simple.
You can just download that. It doesn't. I mean, some things are automatic, so in zip form, unless something.
Oh, no, you have to bring up addendum, there's like 1 through 6 or 5 addendums, you have to add an addendum. That's not an automatic. Yeah, so what is an addendum? What is the purpose? We're going a little sidetrack, but we're starting back up for online. What is the purpose of an addendum?
To change something.
Change anything.
Okay.
I can change anything. I can change who the buyer is. I can change the name of the seller. I can change the purchase price. I can change the close of escrow. I can change the address. I can change what's included in the sale. As long as the buyer and seller agree on a contract. Doesn't matter what it is. I can say, hey, I want furniture in the backyard. Oh, great. Let me just write it in general quick instead of selling the leave furniture. Hey, you know what? The seller said that they were going to leave the barbecue in the backyard, but they really want it. Can they really take it? Oh, they're fine. We just write it in because we physically asked for it in the contract. We said we wanted the barbecue. Hey, seller can keep the barbecue. Just want to write that out. Always put stuff in writing because no one ever remembers when it closes. Never does, ever. Sold a property up in Morgan Hill. Sold it to my client originally. When we purchased it, the lot line at the bottom of the property was off. And we knew it was off. We knew that it was not, it was supposed to go onto the property below by like another 20, 30 feet. This is like multi-acre property. And the fence line was off. But the neighbor below had developed it, all new grass and sprinkler systems and all that. But he had to sell it because his wife divorced him. So we went to sell the property. I put on MLS in the confidential line. Property line not on correct line at bottom of property. Talk to listing agent for correct location of the line. In all of my disclosures, in my agent, in the TDS, in the supplemental, in the lot line descriptions, the line is off. It's not where it's supposed to be. Buyer has a big hissing fit on buying the property. They finally close. We get a document signed by I had to talk to the seller below, had to get him to notarize the documents and he acknowledges the property's on the lot line, that it's moved, it's not right, blah, 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 blah. We go to close, the buyer purchased the property turned into a plain a-hole and forced the seller below to move the line. For nothing, it was a dead area, like over a ledge, there was nothing down there. The other seller below was livid. They had to rip out all of the sprinkler system, all this grass. Just move this line. And so I get a call from my broker. Hey, you got a call from an attorney on your property about the lot lines. It's not an MLS. And I said, really? Screenshot. There it is. Once you close MLS, you can't change the marks. I go, it was right there. He said, yeah, I see it. Okay. Done, end of conversation. There, I put it out there. Let you know, it's in writing. Always, that's good. Oh, come on. Did it move?
It's reading, yeah.
What the frickin'
This is-
frackers and cheese is going on with this thing?
They got it.
Oh, I hate this computer. Okay, let me just look again. Yeah, you heard me. See if she heard me.
The,
It's not, what the, I don't know what it's doing.
Is it not moving again?
No. I don't know what the fracking frickers and cheese is going on. Sorry, online. It's a home base issue right now because the computer is stupid. I do not know.
Smoke.
Yeah, super
Yeah,
stupid.
they- wow.
Okay, well, what I'm gonna do is unfortunately, you can keep playing with that. I'm gonna move, as you're playing with that, I'm just gonna move the screen around.
Okay,
Whoops. That's fine. Yeah.
okay, now it's working.
Is it?
Yeah.
For
That's
5
so
minutes?
weird, yeah.
For 5 minutes it is.
I wonder if it goes into sleep mode or something like that. You have to get it out.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see how long it works. I'm gonna go, this sucks. And then you're gonna know there's an issue. All right, so the 3 documents we always attach to our offer, right? Proof of funds. We've got our verification of funds, verification of loan application, verification of all cap. What we've done now, the contract has changed, is it's automatically attached. We didn't have, before we had to check a box, say, oh, such and such is attached, such and such is attached. Now it's automatic. And what we have now is under the additional terms is pre-qualification, pre-approval, fully underwritten pre-approval. So what is a fully underwritten pre-approval?
The desktop underwriting.
DU approval, which means they've gone through the complete process. They can act like cash. They can close in 5 days. They don't have to go through, except for they gotta get it approved. Probably 15 days. Just make sure the sound is on for online. Am I talking? Let's say I'm talking. Checking, because this is stupid. Yes, I'm talking. Stupid. So a lot of things that they changed in is they put a lot of attached defaults. Before we had to check those boxes. It makes it easier so that we don't have to think it through. Okay, I and O are blank. Why is I and O blank? Because an I looks like a 1 and an O looks like a 0. They got rid of them. 3O looks like 30 and 3I looks like 31. So those are just, that's why it's, well, why are they, you're gonna get an engineer say, why are these blank? Well, here's a great little story for you. This is why they're blank. Okay, your VP, final verification, obviously it's circled. Is your VP a contingency on close? Never. It's gonna be on the VP, so it's not gonna be in the first agreement. So if they say, hey, you know, we did our final walkthrough and the seller left a bunch of crap in the house. And we're not gonna close. Well, you're in breach. You can't stop a close. Or the refrigerator is missing. It's always a fun one. Where's the refrigerator? We're not gonna close. Nope, we still close. It's gonna suck though, because you should have done your walkthrough, what, 5 days prior to verify the refrigerator is missing. But for those that are new in real estate, I will tell you right now in your career, you will buy a refrigerator. It is going to happen. And the going rate is $500. You will 100% buy a refrigerator. It will happen.
Refrigerators are too pennies.
Yeah, but it's $500. I am not giving $2,000 for a refrigerator. I just bought a new one. I love it. It was actually free. But the going rate is $500. So we'll go through, you'll see the terms where we check the boxes of things included. one of the things is that you'll see on the listing side, it'll say, hey, refrigerator is not included. Do you have to abide by that? No, because I don't care. I want a refrigerator. And it's your job, listing agent, to catch me if I did that to listing agent, who was the president of Silvar at that time, who I knew very well. And we went to do our walkthrough, and I said, oh, refrigerator missing. He didn't notice we asked for the refrigerator. I called him up and said, hey, just a quick thing. Oh, do you want the refrigerator? Where's the refrigerator? Oh, someone's not leaving the refrigerator. Yeah, but we have some refrigerator. He said, what? Hold on. All I hear is this. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me know what they want to do. You're buying a refrigerator. Sorry, not my problem. So make sure you do your walkthroughs. Make sure the power and water is on. It is required to be on for a walkthrough. If it is not on, stop right there, call them up, and say, hey, utilities aren't on. I had a client purchase a property in San Jose. Water was not on. We closed. You want to turn the sprinklers on in the backyard, and water shot up through the concrete. What the frick is this? And of course, the answer from the other side was, we never do that. BS. You would have seen the water shooting between the concrete. So utilities have to be on for a walkthrough. If you're a listing agent, do not have your seller turn off utilities until after close. They are required to be on.
Same is true for inspection.
Yes.
I saw an inspection report and we had to ask them to come back because there were no utilities and everything was couldn't check.
Yeah, don't have it. Do not let that happen. I know online there's, like I said before, for those that came on a little later, there's 172 slides on this deck. And I am skipping some because the office apparently does not have a certified copy of PowerPoint on this computer. And I have to slide through and I could not delete them before class. So I had to put them on this great computer that doesn't seem to work for everybody. It's garbage. Okay. Here's a beautiful one. And do not be this agent, which was a Compass agent. Sorry. Yeah, it was a Compass agent. All right. So investigation of your property. That is what? What is investigation of the property? 3L L31, the first top one. What is that?
It's your inspection.
It's your property contingency. Okay. What's the one below it? Informational access. What is that? So how many times? So who has never made a non-contingent offer? Everyone's never made a non-contingent? Okay. So a non-contingent offer basically means that once the buyer makes the offer and the seller accepts, you're in contract, done, the home the way it is the way the home's purchased. That's it, end of deal, close door, okay? But for those that get the buyer in contract, what's the thing the buyer likes to do after they get in contract? They want to go back.
Yeah.
They want to look around. Like, hey, I'm going to do some floors in here. You know, can I get a floor guy and give me a quote for floors? They want to start getting ready to take possession, getting the work done they want to get done. That's what informational access to the property is. It is not a contingency. You can't make a non-contingent offer and then go in and say, hey, I want to get a quote on doing the floors. And they're like, oh, $60,000. Like, oh, I can't afford that. I want to back out. No, that's not how that works. Not a contingency. You're just going there getting information as to what you want to do to purchase, you know, do any upgrades or changes to the house. Now, I had a Compass agent who, as part of their non-contingent offer, said you have to counter out informational access. You have the right to go into the property after we close. And I was like, you just basically opened your seller up to a lawsuit. Because you're basically saying this buyer cannot access the property until close. What if something in between happens and the buyer, you know, finds something out material back to the home, which they can back out from. So I called Mike. I said, Mike, question, what do you think about this? He goes, that's stupid. I go, I know. He's like, hold on, I'm gonna run it by legal. Legal came back and says, that's doubly stupid. I said, I know. So we didn't purchase. Unfortunately, they didn't purchase any house after that. But
And so why did the seller do that?
seller didn't do it.
Oh.
Who did it? The attorney agent did it. They're not an attorney, but every agent's an attorney. They thought it was a good idea. Because they're stupid and they work for Compass. So I told them, I said, I used to know Jeff Barnett personally from KPR for Compass Bottom. I know Jeff with his mullet. What I did is I went back to the agent and said, hey, you're countering out access to the property. And we're making an occupancy offer. Oh yeah, you need to counter that. I go, now, what is the contract between? Remember, the contract between two people. It's not the buyer and seller. And the agents. Don't ever believe the contract between the buyer and seller. It's between agents. I don't care if you have the best offer. I don't like you. You are not getting in contract. That's simple. Because you're going to be a pain in my butt. I want somebody I can work with. So I need to be able to get close. If it's a fight the entire way, it sucks. So you're always kind of like, hey, question. Why do you want that? Oh, sorry, one second. So the seller specifically asked to remove the access. Doesn't that open them up to a lawsuit? Because if anything happens, they've got nothing to stand on. We may not do an offer. Yeah, but that's nothing to do with the access to the property. And she got really quiet. Like, one check.
I have heard people do that in situations like if it's owner occupied and they have a dog or something like that, and they don't want people coming on the property. I'm glad you're bringing this up.
So-
Seeing that, yeah. The
If that's if it's countered out and you agree to it, it's countered out. I don't recommend it, but I'm not insurance. If it's still there, guess what?
Yes,
I'm giving you notice, 48 hours notice. Hey, we're gonna be in there on Friday. We're gonna be in there on Saturday. We send a contract on Thursday. Buyer wants to come by, take a look again to get an idea of X, Y, Z, and get. The buyer always wants to come back after, which is fun for us. Laying on board off my freaking mind. Or can we just go in without you? No, I've got to be there. So yeah. Now the reality is, like, I got to use the bathroom. To be honest, we're all humans. I'm going to come back in and take a look. They want to look around. They want to now really get the meeting. The excitement is there, but now they want to think, where am I going to put this? And do I like that? And we're going to change here. And how's this going to work? And where's my party going to be? That's what they're going to do. So, yeah, got off on a tangent. Let's get back on. Not doing that one. Not do contingent sales. So I'll do, okay, I'm going to give you one quick one. On the contingent sale one that we saw. Okay. From experience, I'll tell you the best way to do a contingent sale purchase. You're representing the buyer owns a house, they need to purchase a home. They're like, hey, we really want to buy the house, but we got to sell my house to be able to get the money to buy the other house. So option one, you make a contingent sale addendum. Okay, making an offer for $1 million, but I got to sell my house, they'll buy your house. Seller's response? No, not going to take it. Option two, recommended option. Sell the buyer's house. Sell it. But you explain to the buyer, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I'm really here to protect you. I want to make sure you give you the best possible information and advice about your house. I do not want you to be out on the street. You got a little baby. What we can do is we will get your home ready. We will sell it. But any buyer that makes an offer, we're going to put an addendum, contingency in place that says to find a replacement property. It's a contingent sale, what it turns out to be. Because now, I just did it in Morgan Hill. Contingent sale, it says, okay, buyer on buyer's house. This is a contingent sale. I need to go find a replacement property. Now, 17 days is the minimum I want to go find a replacement property. If within those 17 days I do not find a property, guess what? Your offer is dead. They do not put any deposits in escrow, just paper. That's it, we're waiting. Now, when I go make an offer on a property for those buyers, what can I do? I can make a fully ratified offer. I mean, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we are making an offer to you. We need to sell our property, but guess what? There's a purchase agreement, we're already in contract. Ready to go. That's how you do it if you have a buyer that needs to sell a property, to buy a property, sell their property first and put in the sales addendum that says they need to find a replacement.
How about a rent?
Rent back is not the same, because when they rent back, they've closed, and now they've got a window, and say they don't find anything in that window, guess what, they're out. But the
But do you have
contingency
a
sale,
hard stop of 17 days?
No.
You don't.
we got 45 days on ours, I was like, oh, okay, we'll take that. Okay, we'll take that. We were in contract in 12, but it gave us 45 days. I'm like, holy crap, really? She's like, yeah, we really like the house, and we want to make sure. Now, in that time frame, the buyer can also back out.
Yeah.
So on the contingency sale addendum, there's a box that checks that says the buyer can or cannot back out, they're locked in while we're going through the process. So just know that. Read all documents.
Or a bridge loan, right? They can do a bridge
Bridge loans don't work right now. Bridge loans are gonna get like 15%. That's hard money loan. That's. You want to say everything else. If you can, if they've got the money, they don't let them do it, but you really want to say, what the heck is this at the top of the screen now? Oh, I hate this computer. Time of possession. So right now they changed it, this default that says upon notice of recordation. Before it didn't say that. It would tab, upon close, and then you would check 6 p.m. or date or time. What happened to us is we closed on a property for a buyer. The seller was a complete donkey the whole time. And it defaulted to close of escrow at 6 p.m. Well, guess what? We recorded it 2. Seller says, no. Contract says, you take possession at 6. I'm not leaving. Well, guess what? You don't own the house anymore. You're gonna leave right now, or we're gonna call the sheriff's office and get you removed. So they left. So what I used to do is I would always put on here 2 p.m. or 12 p.m. or 11 a.m. Even though we didn't close, it's still waiting to report. But now they changed it so it's upon recordation. So whether you record it 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., the moment it records, that's it. It's their house. Right? You don't have to try and figure out a date or a time. Seller occupied or vacant units. Okay, really quick for the John, I gotta make you disappear so they can see what's underneath here. This is a running problem for agents. If you are doing a rent back and the seller is there for less than 29 days, you are doing the SIP, which is 1 page, seller in possession, super simple, nice and easy. If they're there for 30 days or more, you have to use the full RLAS, the residential listing after sale, something rather. It sucks. It's the full cost for keys and deposit and who's going to pay for the water and you have to use it. You will see agents all the time, send them over to you at 30 days or more, sending the SIP. They are wrong. The SIP even says on it, this is for 29 days or less. Please know that filling out the full rental agreement is a freaking nightmare and it is hard to read. SIP says right at the top, 29 days or less. Always tell them to talk to an attorney if they have any questions. They would say qualified California real estate attorney is the term they use. But I would recommend, this is one document you really want to print out and read and understand. The SIP and the RLSA, print those out, read through them so that you can understand what they mean. Because I even tried to fill out the 30-day rental one, and I was like, damn it, what does this thing say? I don't understand. It's confusing. Because it's a full rental agreement. What it is. Now, just a quick note, how long can a seller stay in a house after close before the lender will consider them to be a full tenant and have it not be a primary residence purchase? What's the maximum amount of time a seller can stay in a home after close?
6 months.
6 months?
30 days.
Hold on,
They said
that was,
30 days.
hold on, that was online, hold on, I'm sorry, apologize, the volume is low. Go, say again,
I said 30 days.
30 days, okay, we got 30 days, we have 6 months, what else we got? So it's the maximum amount of time the seller can stay in after close, 30 days, 6 months? 20 days,
No, I think it's 60 days.
60 days? So 60 days is the closest, it's actually 59.
59, yeah.
It's 59, I know it's a weird number. At 60 days or more, the lender will now consider it to be an investment property in their entire contract, their entire purchase and all the interest rates change. 59 days. That's one of the things you can tell a listing agent when they're asking for a rent back, like, oh, they need to be there for 60 days. Like, hey, that's great, but I'm just going to put 59 because that's the maximum amount the lender is going to allow before they won't consider it to be primary resident. And I'll go, oh, okay, great, I didn't know that. Once again, that's you educating the other agent on your vast knowledge of the contract. All right, smoke detectors. Who is required to install smoke detectors? Seller. But what we put into the contract now is seller shall deliver to the buyer written statements of compliance in accordance with any and all laws unless seller is exempt. If seller is to pay for these items and does not fulfill seller's obligation in the time specified and buyer incurs costs to comply with lender's requirements concerning these items, seller shall be responsible for buyer's costs. Huh. So what is something where that would apply? Where would a buyer get a fee if the smoke detector is not installed? It's an inspection starting with an A. Appraisal. Appraiser goes out, especially under FHA. Standard appraisal doesn't say it's not there. And we'll need to put it in there and then certify it. FHA, they will not certify the property. They got to come back and physically see it, especially carbon monoxide detectors. So they go out there, $300, $600 for the appraisal. And guess what? There's a reappraisal fee to go back out. There is no smoke detectors installed. And guess what? Contract states, seller shall be responsible for buyer's cost. Too bad. Once you all get to the point of we'll just say you guys are all super awesome listing agents. I would recommend you carry a smoke detector in your trunk. Costco sells a 2-pack that's smoke and CO built in. Keep them in your trunk. When you go out to your properties, your listings, and you're like, hey, I need to go check on my property because there's going to be an inspection or something going on. You're like, crap, there's not a smoke detector. You just go, flip, flip, and you just sit it on top of the thermostat. You stick it there. It's in the house. It's installed. Doesn't need to be physically screwed into the wall, but it's there. That way you can save yourself a lot of hate. Like when we meet the appraisers there sometimes, you walk through like, damn it, there's no smoke detector or no CO2 detector or CO detector. Oh, quick, we go to my car. Got it. And then take it out when you leave, like, hey, that's mine. You need to get one installed. Things like $40. Now, God bless America, it's not moving again. Oh, I swear to God. I know, right? Online, you have no idea what's going on here.
Not fair.
This computer sucks.
Yeah.
I swear to goodness gracious almighty. This thing is garbage. Oh, boy.
Is it the same thing?
We'll just look at the screen.
Oh.
Yeah, garbage. Back in a second. He's figured it out. All right, be back in a second.
All right. Okay, there we go. Is this the right slide?
We don't know where he was.
Oh.
I think it's
Probably.
2005. So yeah, it should be, I mean, even if- well, we didn't go through F5, I don't know if you meant to do so or not.
I'll let him fix that when he gets back.
Sorry.
Thank you.
It's okay, I don't know what.
Driving you nuts.
The work again?
Yeah.
What's it doing?
I think from the college.
Is there a way to connect to this screen over here with the laptop in case it does it? I can override and run the screen over here.
I can
remotely?
really set up on that, yeah.
Where to put? And then I'll just plug it in.
Okay, I don't know why that's not the right side.
Did you lose the people online?
Just turn it on.
Oh, I think maybe it's power. Which is right, just once more, actually, when I turn on the.
I have no idea. Oh, my goodness. Love it. Oh, look here, it says start. Start.
Is it connected now to the left?
She's curses and Richard's not working over there.
Yeah, I think we have a different mouse for something. Because this one's connected to.
I think this mouse.
Okay, yeah, this is the mouse for that.
Oh,
Yeah, we have some people in
what the freaking crackers and cheese is going on here? Holy cow, what was that? That was scary. Oh, wow.
We were in 5.
No, what is this? I'm saying, since that's done something, what noises, what is that?
It's, since it's there and here, it started to pick audio, so I turned down the volume all the way here, because I muted it. So if you want to talk from there, I don't know if everyone in Zoom can still hear you. but-
We couldn't hear the Zoom people when the audio was in.
Can you hear them from there? If you're connected to Zoom?
What does this do? Just do something? Is it like a? Oh my God.
It says talking front desk 260, but we don't hear anybody. I don't think we can hear the Zoom people if the audio is too low.
I have no idea. We're gonna figure it out online, but we're gonna keep going because this is garbage.
I know, let me mute it there, just for.
All right, so. Oh, wow. Does that work now?
Yep.
I don't, sorry, dude, I don't know what's going on with this thing. I have no idea. This thing is technologically challenged, and it's not me. So for the online, just to repeat, what they've done is they've added the check boxes so that we can easily see the items that are included and excluded. The one box that they keep default is the bathroom mirror, because we've had sellers that were taking the mirrors in the bathroom after close, because you said you didn't ask for them. We were just repeating. We will see in the default the items that are actually included, because you'll see here it says, well, video doorbell. Well, I have a Ring doorbell in my house and you didn't check the box. I get to take it. The answer is no, you don't, because it's built in by default, and I'll show you where that is. You still need the doorbell, even though it's not checked. Because what's the one thing that we do? We do our walkthrough with the client, and then you love the house, that's great. Let's do some comps and put together an offer. Then we go, oh crap, okay, wait a minute, was there? Did you want the washer and dryer? Yeah, I don't remember. Okay, yeah, you want the, we want this, you gotta have the stove, refrigerator, okay, one going. Was there any cameras? I don't remember if there was any cameras. Street bomb, street system. Smart, I don't know if there was any smart devices. Was there a car charger in the garage? I didn't really look at the garage very hard. We don't know, we don't remember. I checked every damn one of them. Hey, just want to let you know, there's no car charger in the garage. I said, I didn't know what you're talking about. That's cool, great stuff. That's the problem with this. With the same property in Morgan Hill, we had the buyer or the seller that was selling the purchase of the property. He had a video doorbell and they didn't check the box. And I knew they would get it. But the seller really wanted the doorbell. I was like, well, you didn't check the box. They didn't know. I didn't push it, but I didn't get them to leave it. I knew we really had to leave it. Absolutely. But okay. So let's say there's a Ring doorbell there. And the buyer makes the offer. Offer is accepted. Can they replace it?
Not with the inferior or different. They can get a new one.
They gotta put another video doorbell in. Right. They can't put in just a ding dong. This is doorbells. Mine rings. I'm like, what is that? Who's ringing my doorbell? Right? Why are you even at my door? I hate that. God, dogs go, oh my God, it's not moving. The dogs go absolutely crazy. Okay, watch now. I'm not gonna touch the keyboard. I'm gonna use this to see if this works. Okay, that changed? Okay. I'm not gonna touch the keys. I think it's something to do with the keyboard. I'm gonna try the little bottom portion there. And let me move this out of the way. Okay. All right, so some of the items that they've put by default, a lot of the things we see is who pays for what, both buyer and seller side. Obviously, reports at the top there under Q2 and 3. Government required points of sale inspection reports. Now, what is a government required point of sale inspection report? What do you know? It just came in. And I got caught on, but I was able to grab it.
We don't have that.
Yes, we do.
Santa Clara.
Yes, we do.
Oh, from Saratoga.
Nope.
Saratoga has the lateral.
Morgan Hill has a sewer lateral. So it's about to come in. That's Santa Cruz. What was that? Sewer lateral. Yeah, Santa Cruz also has the, oh, is it not dripping too fast? And you need to certify that it's low flow. And
Not surprised. I got Paradise.
So sewer lateral, point of sale ordinance. I'm currently working with Mike to put together a list of documents that are required by city, because you will get caught with these. The way the Morgan Hill one read, I believe it was 2005, 10 years older, 15 years old, 2005 and up, sewer lateral, and it's a rolling date that follows the calendar, does not require a sewer lateral. The property I sold had like 1 month with inside of that requirement. And the listing agent or the buyer's agent called me and says, hey, do you have a sewer lateral? I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't know what to do. He's like, or she's like, yeah, you need to do a sewer lateral. I'm like, huh? Okay, what's Saturday to answer? Not a problem. I'll look into it. If we need to do it, we'll get it taken care of. Well, the problem with the sewer lateral, if you don't know what a sewer lateral is, it's a camera that looks through the sewer line from the house in the street. And the majority of time, that line is old cast iron, it's broken, got roots in it. You've got to dig the entire thing up and replace it. And it is really, really expensive. Right? So I was like, crap. So I did some research and I saw 15 years, our property was built outside of it. I had to call the city of Morgan Hill, talk to the lady who was actually in charge of the program. They implemented it without telling anybody. She's like, yeah, we're getting a lot of calls about this. I'm like, good job. And she gave me the actual webpage, which wasn't even done yet. And I forwarded the agent and said, hey, we don't have to do it. She's like, oh, I didn't know. Okay, I'll let the fire. Please do, I don't want to do that.
So question, when is it? I mean, the date.
Go to the Morgan Hill website. It's a rolling date. Now, who does sewer laterals? Home Guard does sewer laterals as part of their program. So if you need someone to do it, it's part of one of their checks things to do or do their inspection. Use wherever you want for home inspections. I know they do it. Okay, so one thing on here are escrow fees. We used to say, in our county, it's a seller pay county, right? Title and escrow fees. But we check the box, each pays their own. So buyer does have title fees. They have their title policy that's required by the lender. But the lender or the seller is paying for the fees for the sales and documents and all their portion of it. One thing they've added in is HOA fee all the HOA documents. Seller, it's no longer an option. Sometimes you had that checkbox like who pays for HOA doc, buyer or seller, and you get that really hardcore listing agent that says, oh well, I'm want a non-continuing offer because my property is super great, it's awesome because we painted the countertop and it makes it worth everything. And oh, I'm looking for anything that says seller. So I'm gonna pick the HOA doc. That's their requirement. So it's in there, seller pays for it. HOA cert is the buyer. So if there's a certification that's needed, the lenders are requiring HOA cert, buyer pays for it. The transfer fees, okay? What is the transfer fee? You're transferring it from the seller's name to the buyer's name. Who pays that? Buyer pays it. It's right here. It says, unless otherwise read in writing, seller shall pay the separate HOA move-in, move-out fee. Buyer shall pay for separate move-in fee. Applies with the bill or itemized items cost transfer. You have the HOAs that are going to be really strict about, you're coming in, you're going out. They've now put into the contract, this is who pays for what. Home warranty, please, please, please always pay for your client's home warranty. Don't negotiate it, just pay for it. It's $310 for a single family home. I think $295 for a condo, whatever. It's no more than like $320. Basic, not advanced. Please pay for it. It's a great goodwill gesture. You're getting paid $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Just pay for it. It's right off.
What's the advance?
I think it's up to like $600.
They're a little bit, they're almost.
But here's the thing. On a property my client was buying, was an old documented property in Mountain View, have the old wallpapers. And single family home though, and he wanted to buy it. And I said, this is back when I didn't do it. I said, hey, get the home warranty. No. I'm a strong man. I can do anything. Dude, get the home warranty. We don't know what's going to happen. Once you move in, something's going to not work. Nope, I'm good. Okay. Please, no. Move in while you're doing work. There's no heat in the house at all. Called a HVAC guy, had to replace it. It was thousands of dollars in the end. They went through the winter. It was cold winter, like this morning, where they had to use space heaters in the house everywhere. Everywhere with space heaters, trying to keep it warm. And I begged to make the home warranty. So from then on, I just get the home warranty. But what I do is I tell my clients, hey, look, I'm going to go, because they should have added the checkbox on there, home warranty. Who pays for it? Buyer, seller, both, buyer waives, home warranty. Back in the day, they used to have a checkbox, buyer's agent, seller's agent. They used to have a box. Yes, I get it. Selling agent, listing agent, but buyer's agent, seller's agent. They got rid of that. So now what I do is I tell my client, like, hey, look, So, you're $10, I'm gonna pay for the basic home warranty, the bare minimum, of whatever the policy, whatever you want to use. And it doesn't have a checkbox on there for it. It's gonna say buyer, but no, that's me. I'm gonna credit you, say $310. But I recommend you upgrade, include the appliances, that's always what's gonna break. Washer, dryer, refrigerator. And if there's AC, include the AC. There's pool, include the pool. Upgrade. Then at which point, say it's $600, they get a credit from me for $310, they bring in the additional $500 or $290. The difference. I'm still gonna give you $310, either the basic warranty or the extended. And you pay the difference. Because something always breaks. And if you do not get it and it breaks, they're gonna come right back to you and say, well, the refrigerator is not working, and you're gonna be scrambling like, oh, well, come on now. Did you wanna go ahead and get an inspector out there? Oh, well, they're gonna charge me $1,000 for the refrigerator for a $300 policy.
Is that a lifetime warranty or do you have to?
1 year.
1 year.
1 year. Is
One-
there a renewal?
Yes, everything. Everything. And little side note. I have a warranty. They expired. My washing machine went out. I renewed online and filed a claim. And they repaired it. Can you do that? Yes. But it's only good for a year. And what happens is you don't use it, you get rid of it, and then it breaks. It's just the reality of the problem. It's annoying, but it does. Okay. So we've been another hour. Everybody want a break? No? Just gonna have me keep talking? Okay, I get it. I'm not
Are
gonna-
you okay?
I'm gonna keep moving. I'm not gonna do mobile homes and I'm not gonna do probate or park rules. No TICs. You can see how much I would have removed. Here's your addendum. Backup offers. We're just gonna give it. How many have seen an agent ask for it if you want to be in a backup position? What do you think it means?
Putting it in the queue.
If something falls out of bed with the first one, then you're in the queue.
Right. Can they have multiple backup offers?
Yes.
So just know, if you're getting a backup offer, really talk to your client about it. These timeframes. Is that me talking? This is super box. Hold on. Okay, that's me talking. Backup offer can cancel. Buyer. Look at the boxes covering the screen. Backup buyer can cancel anytime before being moved up. So the buyer makes a backup offer. They're like, hey, I found another property. I'm going to cancel that one. They can do that. There's no deposit. There's no money changing hands. There's nothing put into escrow. If an agent asks for a buyer to put money into escrow, you want to remind them, it says buyer deposit shall be delivered to escrow holder within 3 days after copies of the written cancellations and releases signed by parties of prior transaction, or if checked, shall immediately be held as provided in this agreement. Watch for check boxes. Check boxes are adding something. I would not feel comfortable if the listing agent said, hey, $1 million property, we want your 30% down. We want your $30,000 right now while you're in backup. So I'm not really doing that. I'm not really liking that option, no. Because I don't know. Is your other buyer non-contingent? Has a non-contingent buyer fallen out of contract? Have they?
They can die.
Absolutely, they can fall out of contract. Bad things can happen. At the very end, loan keeps moving. They never locked their rate, and all of a sudden they made a non-contingent offer on a rate they thought they were going to get. Feds screw up the friggin' country like they're doing now, and they change the rates again. They're like, I can't qualify for that amount now. they're gonna pay some money for that, but yeah, it can happen. It does happen. It has happened. I'm not gonna mention the agents. This is one of the reasons why I'm gonna be going over required documents on sales. Especially Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz has a lot of septic. Not talking the city. Out of mountains. If you ever are on a property and you question its utility connections, you see a propane tank, you better ask if they're septic. Because likely there just might be septic. Septic is a whole nother world. And do not, and I'm going to say ever, buy a property, represent a buyer without getting that tank inspected. That is a non-starter. I don't care if they don't, a lot of times they'll say we don't know where the tank is. Ah, not my problem. Because what it says,
They don't know where the tank is. How do they get it cleaned?
They don't. They don't. Actually, I sold a property on Sanborn Road in Los Gatos, new construction. The guy built it. It was a short sale, and he didn't know where the tanks were. We were buying. We had to get a contractor to come out and dig up the ground to find the tank to put in a riser. Now, what a riser is just picture a toilet paper tube. Everybody knows what it is. Tube that connects to the tank in the ground to the surface. That's where the plate is. That's a riser. Connecting. There was no riser. We had to dig it up. This was 30 grand to find it and dig it up. Not the tank, to dig up the ground, trying to find out what. Because I think it's over there. The frick? Not. I almost paid for that. So double $170, but I got out of it. So what this is now attached. And these are the check boxes. Inspection or report. Seller shall pay for septic inspection to inspect and prepared for by a qualified person. Location and access. Seller shall pay for locating and access and quality the identifying the tank. Seller shall pay for septic to be pumped. Seller shall pay for certification of qualified septic professional by the city of Ben Lomond, whatever. Make sure this is attached to any offer you make if there is a septic. And don't feel bad about saying to sell it. It's your property. You should get the septic tank inspected. On this particular property with the ancient recommended buyer, the tank was not inspected. And the buyer agent did not identify that there was a septic tank until after close. After close, found out that the said septic tank was cracked. And said septic tank needed to be replaced for something. Who's at fault there? Buyer's agent. Even though they didn't like it when I told them that. Oh. Do you know what your cover of E&O insurance is? Do you read the policy? It's not 100%. You're coming out of pocket, big numbers. I'm not mistaken. I believe it's $10,000. I believe it's 10.
I think the brokerage is covered for $1 million plus.
Yeah, you have a what's it called? You have your portion. I think what's the word? What's the word with your car insurance? Not the premium.
Oh.
Deductible. Yeah, is your deductible, not the office's. It's yours. I was at another office where KW Cupertino was $25,000 deductible. What the frick? Why am I paying for your E&O? I get my own. It's cheaper, right? Oh God, I did the screen thing. Hold on, damn it! I touched the button. Oh, it worked, but good God, don't touch the button.
How tough is the keyboard with something?
Do not let me touch the keyboard. Okay. Okay. Okay, Wells. Yes, I touched the keyboard by mistake, but I think I'm going to use the mouse and touch the little corner of the screen.
Oh, okay.
So I think if the keyboard is doing something, so I'm trying to stay away from it. Oh, There's the exasperated. Like, what's going on? It sucks still. Technology, no more technology. Okay. All right, so wells. If you see septic, ask about a well. With a well, what are the things, if you've never dealt with a well, once again, it's another, that same property with the risers have a well. With a well, two things you need to know. What's it pumping at and?
What's?
Nope.
How deep?
Water quality needs to be tested. Because we're looking for garbage in the water. So well inspection, water productivity, bacterial testing, chemical radiology testing. Morgan Hill had a big thing of chlorics in the water down there. The whole area was contaminated. I don't know if it's still contaminated, but okay, look for the keyboard. Shit, freaked me out. It's like, damn it, where'd the keyboard go? Oh, it's freaking me out. And then propane tanks.
Are they recording this?
They are.
Nobody puts it on the internet.
I have fun with myself. I don't care. I've been teaching with KW for decades. Back in the day, KW used to have certification courses where you were like office certified, regional certified, and then national. I think they're just trainers. And I went, and everybody had to do like disc profiles. I don't know if there's still the disc profile, your dominant, nurturing, whatever.
Like Griggs Meyer.
Yeah, something. And I flew out to Texas to headquarters and took what's called not just train the trainer, but it was a instructor development workshop called IDW back then. Doesn't exist anymore. And I remember I sat down and I do not like working in groups. Not a fan. I don't need to talk in groups. I don't like it. I don't want to sit here and hear your feelings. I can't take it. I just want to do the work, get done, and move on. So I sat down, we were in groups, so I did, my eye roll with the back of my head. So I'm sitting in the little group, and I'm kind of on the edge, just kind of sitting. And as she knows, I had rotator cuff surgery, so I can't raise my arms, so I can't really hold my arm very well, because that's the best I can do. So I'm kind of sitting there like this. And one of the head KW buck instructors comes up and next to me. He goes, so when are you going to take over? Huh? He goes, I can see it. He goes, you're a high D. Now D in the disc profile is dominant. Ds do not like groups and they do not like disorganized. And they will immediately step in and take over if someone like, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? I don't know what to do. What we should do? What you should do. So I'm sitting there just climbing the wall. He's like, what are you going to take over? What do you mean? You're a high D. I am looking at you right now. I'm watching him across the room as soon as this group started. You're getting ready to take over. He goes, I might take that 30 more seconds. He goes, I can tell. That freaked me out. Dude. AI, freaking Terminator stuff going on over there. So, wildfire. Add your wildfire disclosure to every offer you make. Just add it. I don't care if it's downtown Cupertino or it's in the mountains, just add it. They've changed the form now that it does not require the seller signature. It's just a buyer form. Just sign it and go. I also put the keyboard again. Freak me out. Freak me out. That's just, yeah, default. Not going over that. Not going over that. Not going over that. Okay. Condition of property at closing. So by the close of escrow, if not, time possession of the buyer will be on the same date. If items are not removed, okay, here is the thing. This is the best part about contract. If you want online, if there's any, I don't know if you can see me. You guys see me? I know there's a camera there. Can you see me online?
This one is pointed at us.
Yeah, this one. I think they, oh, wait. They're muted, huh? Hold on. Let me see if I can hear you. Hold on.
There's some comment in the chat.
Oh, shit. Did you comment in the chat? Damn it.
Anybody has a question?
Let's try that. Can you guys see me online? No. No, yes. No.
Yep, we can see you.
So if you want to know one thing about the contract that you absolutely need to know and you absolutely need to remember, the thing, anything from this other than the fact that I look great on camera is 7B. Can't read my arm. 7B. How many times as a buyer's agent, when we have closed, has the seller left their crap in the house? Always. In the garage, in the backyard, stack of bricks of construction that they were doing that we specifically said we did not want. Wood up in the rafters, it's usually construction material, sheetrock. They leave crap at the house. And we're calling the listing agent saying, hey, dude, they got their stuff here. Yeah, the seller was going to leave that. Yeah, we don't want it. Oh, I'll talk to the seller. Never hear back. Well, guess what? They have built into the contract, by close of escrow at the time of possession. Buyer, if not on the same date, if items are not removed when possession is delivered to the buyer, all items shall be deemed abandoned. Buyer, after first giving the seller written notice of removal items in 3 days, may pay to have such items removed or disposed of, and may bring legal action. Should receive reasonable cost from the seller.
So sorry, Kim, where is this?
7B.
But
Condition of
is
the property.
it under
code.
M?
It's under page 5. But it's not on the. Oh, it is.
Where?
It's.
7B.
I
get to check and.
I see.
No. Yeah. So this is under, so for those online, page 5 of the purchase agreement, 7B, condition of property on closing. So when the seller leaves their crap at the house, the bricks in the backyard, make sure when you make your offer, when you're saying items excluded, all personal property, construction materials on the side of, touch that. Okay. It just makes it really easy. But I got to do this on an agent. And it was hilarious when we pulled up into BMW. That the stuff didn't fit in. Seller left a bunch of materials on the side of the house. Bunch of just crap, bricks. Those are the fun of the bricks stack up. Oh, we're gonna leave the bricks. I don't want the bricks. No, put the red bricks. There's no red bricks at the house for previous construction. Don't want it. And like wood and like a broken dog house. This is crap. And we closed. I said, hey, just want to check the seller can remove the stuff on the side of the house that we specifically asked to have removed. Oh yeah, you know, they're going back to Switzerland, they're going somewhere in Europe. I'm thinking, yeah, okay. So I sent a written notice to them. I said, I just want to let you know, we're just giving you a 3-day notice to have the items removed. And what I did is I cut and pasted that one block. You can like a screenshot, you can do a screenshot and cut and paste it on there. And I highlighted it and sent it back to them. The response was, oh, okay. I'll work on getting that out of there. Great. When? It wasn't in the way, it's on the side of the house. But I want to make sure it's really gone because you're still trying to go the extra mile with your client, right? We close, you get paid, they're like, see ya. No, I'm still here. Still want to help you out with what's going on. So finally, he's like, well, you know, I was going to borrow a truck for my friend, and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. I said, well, we're going to go ahead and put it out in front. You just make sure it's done for you. So I called my client, he's like, I said, yeah, he showed up in this BMW, building with bricks in his trunk. I'm like, bummer. He's like, yeah. He said he had to come back because there's too much stuff. I'm like, call a hauler, dude. You got paid. He didn't want to, dispose of the seller. You know how well it would go if you called the seller after close, like, hey, you left some stuff, send me some money to get rid of it. They're not going to do that. The answer is going to be no. You're not going to hear from the seller. They're gone. So
you recommend us putting that
No, just know it. Don't put it in there. Just know that that is part of the contract. So when the seller, if the seller leaves anything behind, you can, and don't come like, hey, you screwed up this contract. No, hey, Joe, just want to check some of those items in the house. Do you have an idea when they're going to get them out? Because they can't get in now. It's not their house. They've got to coordinate with the buyer. My clients thinks it's funny. I mean, up until the day that it records, I'll go in and out of the house all day and all night. Once it records, I'm like, hey, want to check? Is it okay if I go in there to grab something? Well, you know, we'll check. It's not my house. Oh, right. It's not my house. Let's see. So they go in. Yeah, okay, great. We'll grab whatever. But if they do leave something in the house, you can then say, hey, just want to follow up. Really need the seller to get the stuff out of there. We're going to go ahead and send over a notice, a 3-day notice to get stuff removed. What's that? Let's talk contract. Well, under 7B, it says sellers got to get stuff out of there, and if they don't, the buyer can get reports for costs. And right now, they're looking at just getting 1-800 junk over there and charges $700 a freaking shoelace to get stuff out of the house. Oh, yeah.
It should come up on your walkthrough. Because you have to do that.
Oh, yeah, we'll write it down, but it is a walkthrough, a condition of sale. Just information. It should have come through when they left the house. Okay, so SIP, seller remain in possession. Seller shall on closing of escrow unless otherwise being in writing, even the seller rents the property. They've got to give over the keys. Because guess what? When we close, the seller is still there. Are they the seller still? What do they become? No, they're doing right back. They're in possession.
Oh, and
They're a tenant. And with the tenant, what are you gonna do? Keys. I've only asked for it once when the seller was ringing.
I didn't know it was gonna be.
Ring hard too.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I just saw one. Generally on close, just a little slit at the top, I can see water dripping off the roof. That's my only connection to the outside. I see the room. People are staring at me like voyeurs. The seller, typically we try to be friendly with them at close because we're working with a listing agent. You will run into that agent. I've had some horrific deals with agents when I ran into them. And it was so bad. They were so horrible. I had someone else write the offer. Because I knew they knew what. It's gonna happen. After a couple of decades of doing this, you're gonna run into them again. So you try to be like, but when you close, sellers remain, I don't ask for keys. I say, hey, not a problem. We'll pick up the keys after close or after they move out. And after they move out, when I'll do my walkthrough, because I'm not doing it before, because it's not going to be worth anything, because you know what they're going to do. One of the recommendations I do have for you is before you close, go get that key and get a copy. I have had those listing agents, and you will run into them that are just. I had a listing agent who was with APR back in the day out of Palo Alto at the property in Santa Clara by the stadium. And he was just not a pleasant individual, and we did not get along at all. Happened. And we closed at like 5 o'clock on a Friday. Went to the house. Hot box is gone. Where's the freaking key? Key's in the office. You can come pick it up. 5 o'clock on Friday. I'm in Santa Clara. His office is in Palo Alto. There's no way I'm making it up there. So if you've been in this long enough, you've learned how to break into houses. I have. I've opened many a house. I climbed into the house. And then we went and got keys made. But go get the key. Go duplicate the key before close. Just go get it duplicated. Duplicate it. Save it, put a label on it, 123 Easy Street, and let it close. If the key's gone, you have it.
You know what I did on the house, and I posted in August, I actually made like 5 copies of the keys. And I had custom keychains made for the family,
Mhm.
so that I had those keys as extras, and then I gave them to them as a, their gift, basically.
But what's the first thing they should do?
Change.
If you get a home warranty, what does it do?
Yeah, it does change.
3 keys, so many locks, but be very, 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 very careful. The locksmith that comes out is shady. And they'll tell you that it's not included, which just happened to my client in Las Vegas. $280. And now I'm getting a call of, he charged $280. Why'd you accept that and not call me? Calling home warranty, well, it's not included because it's a special lock. It's a freaking normal door lock. I could have bought new locks and put them in for less than that. Just no. Pay attention to all that craziness. Now, the key you're supposed to get, have I ever had a contentious seller who wanted to rent back? And the agent was not very pleasant when we closed, and I said, "Give me the key, sucker." Yes, I have. Just because I could. I didn't care. But he wasn't very friendly, and I made him give me the key. He was pissed too. Yeah, it happens.
So we need to have a copy even if they let the seller know.
They're required to give you the key. But if you're having a good relationship with the seller that's been cool, they've been helping, they give you, they helped you with deals and pricing or whatever, maybe it's like, I'll pick it up after close. Just leave it in the lockbox. Typically what I'll do is I'll put my lockbox out there. I'll say, I'm gonna put my lockbox out there, my combo, put the key in the box, just so there's an extra key in there, and then I change the code. So the agent can't go in and pull the key out. My box, my key, my code, I own it. I can't see it. I asked my eye doctor, she's like, well, when you get older, your eyes are gonna need glasses. I go, this sucks. These are my new ones. Loan. Buyer obtaining loan as specified. If contingent on buyer shall act diligently in good faith to obtain the designated loan. If there is no loan appraisal contingency or the appraisal contingency has been waived or removed, then failure of the property to appraise at the purchase price does not entitle buyer to exercise the cancellation right pursuant to the loan contingency. If the buyer is otherwise qualified, specified loan. All right. Contingency. If I waive a contingency and it doesn't go in my favor, can I bring that back up? No. I waive appraisal and the property doesn't appraise. Too bad. But caveat, comma. This is actually on the first page. Which page is it on? For that? No, I'm going for right here on page 2 under L2 under appraisal. It says appraisal contingency based upon appraisal value at the minimum of purchase price or X. Now, what does that mean? So, very good friend of mine, Harvey Young. That don't know Harvey, great guy. Works over in Santa Clara now. Great guy. Used to have something called shark bid. And the way it works is that, remember, you can be as creative as you want when you write an offer. And so you tell your buyer, you're like, hey, look, I'll do it with my board. Makes it easier. This thing's stupid. Okay. So I am making an offer for a property at $1 million. Okay. I mean, that's like a mobile home right now, but $1 million, right? And my buyer says, I love the property. I'll make a non-contingent offer. And I tell him, that's great, but comps on this property are only the best I can find are $90,000, right? But it's listed for $1 million. And I tell him, like, look, to win this, you've got to ride at 1-1. which happens all the time, right? We list low because we get a lot of activity, but we know comps are here, but there's the neighbor that sold, that had the new driveway, and it's worth, I'm gonna be done with this right now in the mountains. Driveway worth $1 million. Where did you come up with these numbers? I don't see it. Well, the seller put in a new toilet, so it adds another $10,000 in value. No, it doesn't. No, whatever. But to win it, this competition is 1.1. I go, okay, well, look, Mr. and Ms. Buyer, here's the deal. If we write at 1.1 and it appraises at 90,000, I'm sorry, not 90, 900. Sorry. Numbers up. Come on, you guys must tell me that. You're like 90. Holy crap, what's going on? Who's coming up with these numbers? Oh, you guys are killing me. See, I'm doing all the talking here. You're not helping me out.
You don't know what you're doing.
Oh my goodness. Killing me. Online, you guys are not helping. All right, so 900. 900,000 is what I can find for comps. Listed for $1 million. We got to write 1 million. Okay. I go, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, here's the deal. What's the maximum you're willing to contribute if the appraisal comes in short? What does coming in short mean? Appraisal means short means that if we write a 1.1 and comes in at 90, you're off by $200,000. Short. If it comes in at $1 million, you're off by $100,000. Short. They say, well, the maximum I'm willing to contribute is $100,000. Okay, great. What this says is that appraisal under, once again, L2 on page 2 says appraisal contingency based upon appraised value at the minimum of purchase price or. So if my buyer says the most I can contribute is 100,000, purchase price is 1.1, what's the number we would put in there? Million. Because the 100,000 would cover the difference if it comes in short, right? Now, what you can do, what we would do, got done. I caught an agent in it. She didn't like it. Like, hey, read the contract. Is that what I would say is, okay, the minimum is 100,000. Okay, great. Well, comps are at 90. I would write into the offer, buyer to contribute up to $100,000 towards any shortfall of appraisal, comma, put my word in. It didn't work though. For a maximum purchase price of $100,000 or above appraisal. I had to double reiterate it to the agents.
So that changes your offer price. Because if, use your example, so they couldn't limit one. So where do you write that?
Additional terms.
Never
But
heard anybody.
Okay, okay, 2 questions.
Yes.
So we put in an offer at 1.1, and then we check this and say 1 million here in 8D, and then we write an additional.
No. No, what that says is that your buyer, and what that says, okay, so the question was, is that under L2, under appraisal, we're checking the box, we're putting $1 million in there, and we're writing an offer at 1.1. What we're saying is that the appraisal has to come in at a minimum of $1 million for the buyer to purchase. The appraisal comes in at 900,000, can the buyer back out? As long as they have an appraisal contingency. If they waive the contingency, they have waived it. There is no I've added to the contract. You have to have the contingency.
But so, yeah, I mean, you're being sneaky and you're being sly and saying, in the sense, because you're probably expecting me to come in at 9. And you want to get yourself to the top of the pile by writing that 1.1. And then you put this in there so you know that it can't go over a 1.
So what is that? Well, a smart agent knows the contract.
I mean, it's what you're doing,
And
your
it's-
fiduciary duty.
And it's challenging the listing agent to know more than I do. My job is not to explain the contract to the other side. My job is to get my client, whether it's a listing agent, whether it's the seller or the buyer, to what their goal is. That's my job. I'm not gonna break any laws. I'm not gonna break any legal or financial rules. I'm not gonna do any, lender fraud. Have people try that when I can't do that. Then I'm gonna go work with somebody else. I can't do that. Like, oh, well, why don't you just go ahead and give me 1% out of after close as a kickback? I call it kickbacks. I don't call it referral fees to buyers or sellers. No, that's lender fraud. And you are so not worth my life. Thank you. Have a nice day. And call it kickback. Don't call it a concession. Kickback makes them uncomfortable. Work better. Oh, you want a kickback? Oh, okay. Why? I'll go up and take a look at how to answer that. So the answer I get people when they ask me kickback, and I say, okay, great. So you want a kickback? Why? Oh, because Redfin will do it. They're not a real estate company. They're out there just to make money. So why? I'm a Redfin referral agent too, and I yell at them about it. Redfin referral agents are for 40% referral fee. You want to know? Not worth it. But the what I say is I go, okay, great. Where do you work? I work for a lot of tech, right? I work for Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. Okay, great. So let's just ask you a question. Joe and Susie. So let's say you're working on a great project for your company, for Google, and they're trying to close this huge deal with China right now. They're going to get into China. It's going to be a huge, huge deal for them. They're going to make their quarter or a year. They're going to be able to do this great thing for them. And they come to you and say, John, first we ever close this deal, I need you to go ahead and forfeit 50% of your overall salary this year for us to close this deal. Would you do that? Well, no. Then why would you want me to do it? How is that different? You want me to give you up my commission because you feel you're entitled to it. Why don't you give it yours? Okay. Moving on. And I don't bring it up again. I move on. But I've also had a client come back to me and say, "Oh, I need, what do you after we're in contract?" Bye.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Oh,
It'll be good tomorrow. A little more tomorrow.
well, this is recorded in here.
I know, right? I see how it is. You go from Memorex, not live, huh?
Okay.
So it's an important point you're bringing up because this is a standard practice for many agents. They do
Yeah.
give an automatic.
I give a free home warranty. That's my concession.
And people expect that and they plan to use it to buy furniture or pay for this or that or whatever. And so it is something you have to be.
Great. Okay, that's great. So I see you drive a Mercedes, a BMW, an Audi. Great. Why do you drive an Audi? Oh, because it's a quality car. Why don't you drive a Honda? No offense to Honda. Yugo, I'll use Yugo. We don't make those anymore. Or a little e-car. Why don't you drive that? Oh, I wouldn't drive that. Because you want a quality, right? Okay, well, that's what you're getting with me. Why don't you shop at Nordstrom versus Target? You probably Target, I go to Target all the time. But you can see the difference between the two. People shop and do certain things because of the quality that they're expecting. That's the same quality you provide to them. Don't let anyone try and diminish your value to them because they look at you as nothing more than a commodity. You're not. You're getting the value and experience and expertise that I provide, and it costs you nothing. And those buyers sit there and say, well, it does cost me something because I pay for the seller paid for it. Nope, because that's the seller's proceeds, not yours. You would pay the same price for the property, whether you use me or not. There is no difference. So don't let them give you that BS answer. Well, I'm technically paying for it because I'm buying the house. No, my payment was negotiated with the seller, between the seller and the listing agent. The listing agent then decided how much they were going to compensate the buyer's agent, which is not you. So don't let them give you that ridiculous. Why are there two different things on the screen here? I don't know. What is it doing? What the?
Oh, it's yours. That's.
What's happening? No, my computer's not even on. Was.
It must have a sleep function or something. She did choose duplicate when she set it up, so you would get it on both.
I don't know. Let me just So, hold on, let me turn, I have to turn sound on. Let's ask.
There was a question in the chat. by the way.
That was before, that was just like he didn't have sound, I think. Yeah. So you guys online, do you see this, because we got to screw up here in the stupid training room. On paragraph 8, was it A8, A2? Is that what you see?
Yep, that's what we see, Tim.
Okay, perfect. Because this thing is so stupid. See, if you want to look here, look, we have 2 screens. One is wrong. The one on the far is right now. I have no idea what's going on. It happens when Chelsea's gone. Nobody falls apart. Oh, wow. Let's see here. Let's just continue to remove this. Okay, here we go. So we're talking about before on the check boxes. On the check boxes on the contract under top of 3, where it says we want to include refrigerator, washer, dryer, electronic equipment and whatnot. So if you look here, why is this thing is like in the way?
Stop talking.
I know, right? So what it says is what's included. So all existing electrical, mechanical, lighting, plumbing, heating fixtures, ceiling fans, inserts, gas valve, but window coverings, including blinds, curtains, draperies, shutters, and any other material to cover the portion of the window. Attached floor coverings, television antennas, satellite dishes, air conditioning coolers, full spa equipment, any cleaning equipment, such as motorized automatic pool cleaners, pool nets, pool covers, pool nets. If you've ever run into a seller who says, oh, you get the pool, but I get to take the super cool sweeper thing that cost me $400. No, that stays. You don't get to take the super cool pool sweeper thing with you. Looks like an octopus. Yeah, I just danced with that. So here's one. Smart light bulbs. What's a smart bulb? It's a Wi-Fi bulb that, you know, you put your phone and change its colors. Was it the Philips Hue bulb or whatever it is, like $20 each? Those stay. You'll get to replace it with the 50-cent light bulb from Ace. No, seller does not intend to include the specified as being included above because it is not owned by the seller, whether placed on the property or agent, state or other third party, items should be listed as being excluded. You ever had a buyer ask for staging? Is that staying? Staged. Write it in there. The best thing you can do is that when you see a disclosure package or you see something in MLS, you're like, hey, that's great wording. You know, the whole POF and proof of funds, copy of your pre-approval letter, all that. POF, that's some agent put in there somewhere along the line. Proof of funds. We didn't write it down. It was a POF. Now we know what POF is. Proof of funds. So if you see that verbiage in it, copy it, save it, use it. It's great verbiage. I do it all the time.
Sorry, can I clarify what you said? I've never seen anybody say staging is excluded because it's not attached. Why would you need that one contract?
Property by agent, stager, or any other third party item should be listed as excluded.
Wow. I've never seen it.
Yeah, right. The attached, detached, the thing you learn in the contract, take our license. Write it in. Staging is not included. I see it all the time. Okay. Here we go. This is where, remember on the check boxes on the top of 3, where it says video doorbell, security camera equipment, security systems, alarms, blah, 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 blah. Right here, number 3, security systems include. This is all items, existing items included. Devices, hardware, software, control units used to monitor and secure the property, including, but not limited to, any motion detector, door window alarm, any other equipment utilized for the purpose. If checked in paragraph 3P. This is back to 3P where we check the box. Check the box. Home automation. This is explaining what is home automation on here. Home automation is any feature, electronic devices, features, including thermostat controls. Right? The Nest thermostat everybody has. Those things suck. You don't know? Horrible. Ugh. Those who like it, I don't like it. Thermostat kitchen appliances are otherwise not included. Lighting systems that are connected, hardwired or wirelessly. I have those little switches I put in that are wireless controlled to control my lights. Those got to stay. I can't take them out. Computer, tablet, phone, or other smart devices. Any smart home devices that feature that are physically attached to the property, and also existing light bulbs are included. Non-deactivated devices, including smart home and security system control devices, are included in the sale, except for dedicated personal computer. So you don't get my computer, but everything that's hardwired stays. I don't want to touch the keyboard, touch the mouse.
Actually, that's an interesting paragraph in that if your house is smart Wi-Fi controlled, you would not only need to leave the router, but you would have to leave anything that is controlling it. So if you've got it, that's what it just said. Can we clarify?
So the question is that if the home is run by a smart, so
System.
the router is not controlling the system, it's usually done over a Wi-Fi, that connects to a Wi-Fi connection. Now, if there's an actual smart box,
Yeah.
that stays. That's controlling everything.
So, but the router is what connects you to the Wi-Fi service. Do you have to leave the router?
So I'm going to clarify, because there's two things you're saying at the same time. So let's just say call it a smart hub. So I have in this room, I've got, something controlling this camera, that camera, the clock, and this stupid screen over here that doesn't work. And there is a device, I don't know, an Apple box of something that they all connect to, and that Apple box is what I log into to be able to control. That's not a router. That's
Absolutely not, but I'm just saying.
so the router is something, this states. The router does not. The router is just something you get from your internet service provider that this is connecting Wi-Fi to, which is connecting to their service. That is not required to run this. This Apple box.
But you will have Wi-Fi service if you don't have. it.
Okay, then you don't have Wi-Fi service. That's not you. The seller
Yeah,
is
I'm
not
just trying
required.
to clarify.
No, I get it. The seller is not required to pay for Wi-Fi service for you to be able to connect to the internet. If you don't want to do that, get Air Antenna TV. That's not the seller's requirement. They're required to leave the equipment, just like if the seller were to leave, say, ADT alarm, did it all the time, right? ADT stays. And within 5 minutes of closing, you get the call from the ADT agent. Hey, I see that they have ADT. Did you buy one and hook it up? Blah, 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 blah. And they say no. So I'm not required to turn the service on for you, but you have the equipment, you can do whatever you want with it. Same thing. Did I answer the question?
Yes, I've never actually read that, and I thought that, it's implying to actually make that operative, you would have to have Wi-Fi service, so therefore you would need a router to be able to connect to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that would be the buyer's decision. All they need is the equipment to be able to run it. It's their determination if they want to turn it on. Maybe they don't want to have working with all your buttons. You run everything with your phone. Oh, curtain. Say they take the pole. Can they take the pole for your window coverings?
No, it's not attached. But the curtains are included, they're not included. They're not included, they're.
Curtains are included by default. Yep. If the seller says, hey, I'm taking the curtains, can they take the pole?
Not the pole, the pole.
They. Well, the pole is usually just kind of there. You just unscrew and you can slide the pole out. It's holding up the curtains. They have to leave the pole. The pole has to stay. Unless they say, I've had sellers saying, hey, curtains are not included, which is what they can do because they're like some super high end, something mucky mucks. Okay, great. There's just none. Typically, when I'm selling a house, I rip out all the curtains and blinds anyways. There's nothing on the windows. So I want as much light to come in as possible. And buyers walk in like, oh, there's no curtains. Nope. Figure it out. Just like the one we're prepping a home right now that I ripped all out of. Okay, I'm only going to do this one section. Let's see. We're going to do the next 3 slides, and then we're going to quit for today, and we'll do this again tomorrow. My voice is getting dry. Okay, inspections. What they put into the contract now is what is actually required for inspections. So what is a report? So our office requires at a minimum, no, because I have those in my car. My freaking daughter called them grandpa candies. I hate you, daughter.
It helps though.
I love them. I bought 3 bags of them from, if you go to Costco, the business center, they sell them, whole bags. And I've got a red Dixie cup filled to the brim with them right there in my car. But I'll be like this all. And you're not supposed to be having chewing anything when teaching.
No, this is hard.
I know, but I'll be like this, trying to put it in my cheek, like, okay, so so our office does require at least a termite inspection on any property. Please don't try and buy or sell a property without at least an inspection. You put yourself in a really bad position, because if the seller sells and you don't basically encourage them to make the inspection, and you do not get them to sign that you're doing this against agent's advice, right? There's the form. You choose not to do an inspection. I'm telling you to do it. You're acknowledging you're doing it against my advice. If you don't do that, you're screwed. Because if the buyer buys the property and all of a sudden they're like, hey, this thing's held up by toothpicks and freaking baling wire because of termites everywhere, and the seller's like, I didn't know. Well, clearly you must have known because the wall's falling down. You're screwed. Just do the inspection. What do you know? You get like $400 for just do termite. Termite and property is good. At a minimum, for any of my clients, I do termite and roof. You want to make sure the roof is not leaking. If the rain stops, that sucks. You want to make sure the roof is not leaking and make sure that it's at least structurally sound from the termite. Termite is a misnomer. We're not just looking for termites, we're looking for dry rot, water damage, leaky pipes. It's all that. Just when you hear termite, people think, oh, they're looking for just termites. No, they're not. Under 10B2, point of sale requirements. Any such repair shall be completed prior to final verification of the property. If buyer agrees to pay for any portion of such repair, buyer shall directly pay to the vendor completing the repair, provided an invoice of escrow holder, deposit funds into escrow sufficient to pay for buyer's portion shall repair, and required escrow holder. Okay. If you're buying a home, remember at the beginning of the property contingency unit said we have the right to do it further for 17 days. We can go in and do inspections or whatnot. And let's say that seller did the termite inspection came back with $10,000 of work. Buyer would say, I want to get a quote, get this work done. You know, it's going to take some time. Contractor, maybe I can get the work done prior to close move in. And they get the quote, quoted $10,000. Can the buyer do the work prior to close? No.
Yeah.
Yes. So why no?
Because the contract is wrong.
What?
They don't have possession.
Contract can fail, don't have possession. It's getting tricky now.
It is. So the problem is if you fix before closing and you don't want the buyer contract form, the buyer in the paying for the fixing. Right?
So that's another answer. That's another correct caveat, comma.
Okay.
We're assuming it's a non-contingent offer. There is no property.
So something comes up in the inspection, which happened.
Always.
Which happened to you. Yeah.
So in the answer, can the buyer do repairs on the property while in escrow prior to close? Yes. With seller's approval of her house. The company will not even do the work without the seller signing off on it. But not advised, not your home yet. Don't want something to happen. And what if they start their repair and Pandora's box starts?
Yeah.
More damage, more damage, more damage, more damage, more damage. And you're like, holy crap, we didn't know all this, we want to buy. I don't want to get into that. But if it was negotiated back in the day, when it was a good buyer's market, we could ask for anything and everything, up till like you're gonna have professionally clean and clean the windows, and we would landscape, we asked for everything. Hasn't been that way in a long time. But you can absolutely negotiate it, called request for repairs. You get the term report, $10,000. Okay, we counter back when we make our offer, buyer request seller to do section 1 work. And it has to be done prior to close. We can absolutely do that. At which point, seller pays for it, comes out of seller's proceeds. Or another way we can do it, $10,000 repairs, buyer's like, hey, it's a lot of money, hey, Mr. Seller, we would like for a credit of $10,000 for repairs. At which point that money is held in escrow. You close, you do the work, escrow pays the company, it's done. Or option number 3, you finance your repair, which you can do. I don't entirely recommend it, but if it's really big, a lot of money, $1 million property, 10,000 repairs, make an offer for $1,010,000, and then you just finance it. And do it, and then you ask for 10,000 back from the seller. But your loan is $1,010,000. That's $10,000 back from the seller. As long as it's in the contract, lender's good. It's not hiding anything. Doesn't exceed the limit that the lender's credits will accept, and then you can do the repairs. But it's not recommended to do it independent while the buyer's in escrow. I don't want to deal with that.
Issues too, because if the worker gets injured or there's some type of thing that impacts the insurance on the home, you know, you can get in serious problems.
You can, a worker getting injured will not affect the house. It's more because you're thinking about, you know, the insurance companies following it, which used to be the old clue report. It's more of condition of the property rather than somebody falling and getting injured. And as built into the contract, it specifically states that any contractor coming in is required to have their own workman's comp insurance. So it doesn't fall back on the property. So the reason that was added is because we used to have the shady, you know, agent and Joe's Jim Bob tire and freaking termite repair, who does roofs on YouTube, would go up there and fall off the roof and then sue the seller. And it now says, no, anybody going into the property has to be licensed and have insurance, which is a requirement. Reinspection fees. If any repair is not completed within the time specified and the lender requires, we're under number 3, requires an additional inspection to be made, seller shall be responsible for any corresponding inspection fee. If buyer incurs costs for complying with lender requirements concerning these items, seller shall be responsible for the cost. So if you do these repairs, if you initiate repairs prior to close, the lender will require them to be signed off prior to close. And if it's a reinspection, saying, you know, it was especially FHA, and they do an initial inspection and say, hey, such and such needs to be fixed, they will have to send the inspector back out, the appraiser, to do another inspection to verify that such work was completed. And there will be a reinspection fee. And if that work was supposed to be done prior and it was done late and they didn't make it, then there will be a fee that the seller would then be responsible for. The warranty doesn't apply. There's my mouse. No, not that. Okay. Statutory disclosure will be the last part we're going to cover for today. TDS, NHD, and other requirements. So the part they've added in there is that if the property is in a high or very high fire hazard severity area, the information, notices, documentation, and agreements required are the let me see if they have it on the next slide. FHDS, here it is right here. So this form is really, really confusing. If you get your NHD back and it says you're in a very high fire hazard zone, you have to attach this. This is not the wildfire disclosure. This is the hardening disclosure. This is way more complicated. And what it does, it comes down here and it says, you know, the seller is aware of the following features. They've put in eave sockets and roof ventilation where vents are opening. They've done roof coverings made of untreated wood, combustible landscaping. Ugh. Right here. The home is not in a very high hazard zone. If you have it, if it is not, this is what they check. Well, let me go down. Let me go one more part down. Where the seller can kind of say, I don't know, or I have not done. Defensible space requirements. You can't see it on that one, huh? Local ordinance. No local ordinance. The buyer shall obtain documentation of compliance with the state desired space law under 4B. 4B2. No local ordinance. Local vegetation management. Local vegetation management. Final inspection report. My recommendation on this form, and this is kind of, we're going to treat this kind of like a tax and legal advice. You don't want to get part of this. And hey, it's on property mountains. There's, there's a disclosure. I need you to read this. Answer to the best of your ability. Unfortunately, not assist you with filling this out. But boy, I just happened in Boulder Creek. And in fact, the fire was really close. It was like literally within 100 yards. Because you can see the burnout, it stopped. He was lucky. He almost lost, they vacated, he almost lost his house. He was like, holy crap. But I also, during that fire, between the mountains, I put a client in contract when the bridge washed out, when the bridge went out, highway 35, that's the one that goes to the mountains.
That goes up, yeah.
The road washed out. I put him in contract for $2 million at the property. The driveway went whoop, into nothing, right where it washed out. And I get a call. He's like, hey, what's going on up there? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, the road washed out. What road? The road in the mountains. What? Right at the end of the driveway, it washed out. Huh? I looked it up, it was gone. We backed out. And he's like, well, they're not gonna be able to rebuild the road for 2 years. I'm like, I think it's Highway 35 goes to the mountains.
Yeah.
I'm all, that's the main artery through the mountains. I'm telling you right now, that's priority.
Exactly.
Well, all the geological say they can't do it for 2 years, it's gone, they got it backfilled. I'm like, they're gonna figure it out. It was up in 2 months.
Oh, okay.
It was back up quick.
Wow.
And I called him up and said, "You big baby. Should have bought that house."
Yeah.
But don't assist them with filling out the fire hardening form. Let them, it's kind of like, filling out the TDS disclosures. That's your ability. Answer what you can.
I know there's 2 places, which I think is Paradise and Susanville, that it's a point of sale.
Yes, Paradise is gone. I was part of the search and rescue team in Santa Clara County, went to Paradise. We found nothing about it.
Didn't we rebuild?
Hmm?
Yeah, right.
Some people.
Yeah, that was, we're talking about a war zone. There was nothing, it was ash everywhere, ash, crazy. Okay, so we're gonna stop there for today. Online, you guys have any questions?
No, nothing here. Thanks, Tim.
John, you're the only one that responds. Everybody else is like crickets. There says there's 5 people there, you crickets. All righty. So I want to thank you guys. We'll be back here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll go through the rest of it. If you have questions between now and then, feel free to write them down and we'll go over them tomorrow at the beginning of the class and answer anything that we need to. All righty. All right, you guys, I'm going to figure out how to turn this off because this thing sucks. Hopefully we'll have this fixed tomorrow because this thing is redonkulous. Oh, look. Oh, there's John. Everyone else is gone. Oh, look, there's me. Oh, there's the camera. Oh, you can kind of see me, huh? Oh, okay, great. Watch me scratch my head. All right, you guys. I'm going to figure out how to turn this off because I have no idea, but we're going to shut it down. Thank you.
Request when you start tomorrow,
Yes.
just overview that you say, you give us some incident in the beginning to like